This is Brightside Home Theater. Hey, home theater nerds, welcome to the Brightside Home Theater Podcast, the home theater podcast that's all about the experiences, the sights,
sounds.
Oh my God, the scenes.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like a trained monkey at this point every week doing this.
Your volume's wicked low.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I laughed, because I thought you were doing that on purpose. Try that.
I don't know why. Hang on.
Yeah. I just know. I mean, you're coming through really low, and that's why I was like, I thought you did that on purpose, like the sights.
Why is it not? Is that any better?
I
guess, I must have hit the volume on the mic.
There we go.
Because it was down like 3 lights, or 3 notches down. So
yeah,
when I moved it, I must have turned the volume down. So
yeah,
I apologize.
There we go. That's the John I know. All right, let's try it again. Ready?
Oh, okay. I can continue to be a trained monkey doing this every week.
Exactly. Oh, I need that sounder, the music, the organ grinder music.
Yeah, right.
Oh, all right. Let's take it from the top.
All right.
The sights,
the sounds,
the scenes, and all the fun experiences. John, how's your week been? We haven't had an opportunity to even like just have fun at the open. Not just have fun. We always have fun, but you know what I mean? Like, how have you been?
I've been good. Can't complain.
Good.
Yeah.
Things going well?
Well as they can be.
Yeah.
I mean, I talked a little bit last week with you off air.
Yeah.
About, my kaleidoscape journey. So you know how that's going, but
yeah, I need I don't have a toilet bowl to flush.
I know. Yeah. It's on life support at this point.
Yeah.
To the point where I've now started like making a list of all the discs I've been missing that I need to go back and buy.
I know.
Because I might have to. Although, if I go back and buy all the discs that I missed, I can probably buy a kaleidoscape.
Yeah, exactly. I know. You're kind of caught in the middle, and yeah, I know. We'll get to Tweeks in a minute, but this is a rare, relaxing show, and I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't know, but it's just us this week, John. I mean,
since we're pushing 3 hours every week. This one, if it comes in at 2, will be a welcome relief, I think.
To the listeners, maybe.
Yeah.
No, we got some comments coming up. I think I saved them. People like, keep it going, 3+, whatever. And I'm like, maybe I'll
great for everybody else. It really cuts down my ability to listen back. I know it's not for me. So
right. But yeah, last week's show, I had trouble getting it out to people. I mentioned it a little bit on Tuesday's show with Dan, and so on the Nerdy Legion, there's restrictions, like limits, 100 megabyte limit or whatever it is that we have to put everything out in MP3 form. And we went over that the first time in all of podcasting that we've been doing with Nerdy Legion. We went over our limit and it wouldn't load. So
oh wow, I feel like I got it Thursday afternoon.
You did. Yeah. And I had so much trouble getting it out that's why it went out. I was just like, all right, what I had to do is I had to back off the quality and lower the quality in the kilobytes per second or whatever.
That's why I wasn't on it last week.
Yeah. Yeah, you cut out one audio track. It's beautiful. Works great. Yeah. But yeah,
that's why the quality was lower.
I had to lower the audio quality on the audio only podcast. And then it went out. And as soon as it went out, I was so like, when I do I try to schedule these things and stuff. And when it doesn't take, it fails. And I have to re-put in all the information again, like cut, paste. And it's like, oh my God. So I was so frustrated. I was just like, forget it. I'm not even going to hit schedule. I'm like, if it goes, it's going out. And that's what happened. It went out. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Nice treat for everybody.
Yeah. 2 weeks in a row. We went out on Thursdays.
Yeah, because the week before, everybody was like doing a poll to get it early.
Yeah, exactly.
This week, they just got it.
They
so
just got
now you're
it.
you're spoiling everybody though.
No, Dan and I talked about it a little bit on Tuesday. We were saying that people are, and I like that. I like that people are used to the dropping on Fridays and so forth. So that, I'm a big fan of that myself. I think what I'm going to do going forward is I'm going to start separating things out. Like I could have done the Kaleidoscape one as a special edition and just put that out on its own. But I kind of wanted it. I wanted to see how it would go, and it went well. I mean, it's great, response from people. But it would be nicer to just start dropping stuff separately, and then it's a good surprise for people. As I get other guests, I'll just drop a podcast, right? And then it'll be you and I on Fridays. It just makes it easier to manage like that. Me, you, and Steve, of course.
Right.
But look at us, John. We're expanding. It's like,
I know.
yeah. So, but yeah, it's just a rare show of just you and I, and Steve popping in,
and Steve,
and just our normal experiences. So no
I saw
milk
that he
at the
was,
front of the store, and
back from holiday.
Yep, back from his holiday.
He was, showing all his discs on Twitter.
Yeah,
that came in while he was gone. So
I know. I'll be talking with him about dog soldiers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
you made kind of a malignant face there, so I don't know. I haven't seen it.
It's interesting. It's not bad, but I'll save that one just for him. But we've got a few for us. I mean, I think this show. I mean, we legitimately. I've been debating back and forth. This is going back to our chat days. What's the name of the show? And I think it has to be Rings of Power. No.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I mean, that was the biggest thing that came out this week. So
it was, but I think the conversation is going to go between that and House of the Dragon.
Right.
I mean, it's a great conversation.
Rings of Power was also very divisive, which is not something we get into too much on this show.
We could get into whatever we want, John.
Oh, I know, but we're more about the sights, the sounds, the scenes. We don't really get into the soapboxy stuff, but.
There was soapbox?
There was a lot of.
I swear to God,
there was a lot of
really
division about this show,
and that's why I brought you on, because not just the soapboxy stuff for that, but even the home theater stuff. You're big into reading the forums. You're big into all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, but I shouldn't be, because it's bad for my health.
I keep telling you.
It's like, honestly, every time I do it, I texted you the other day. It's like, I don't know why I keep subjecting myself to this stuff. But it's like a car crash. I can't go past it. It's like I see people put stupid comments up, and I just have to start reading them all.
I avoid them, and you send them to me.
I know. I get right into them, and I shouldn't. I should just go past. But
what was the one I did a while ago? I recorded a podcast for the listeners that don't know, because it never went out. But remember that one?
Oh yeah, that rant. I don't remember what it was about.
I lost my mind.
There was some rant that you did, and then you sent it to me, and I was like, "Put it out," and then you didn't.
I didn't. No, I thought
that was for this, or was that for chat?
No, that was this. It was home theater.
It was home theater.
Because the guy was talking about. He said something about Atmos.
Yeah, it was some YouTube guy. Yeah, that's right.
And he was just so wrong. Like, it was all wrong. And like his actual sentences, like he contradicted himself. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I was just so angry, because I was just like, this is what's out there, and people listen to this stuff, and you're like, and it's
Well, now you've brought it up, so everybody that listens is going to be bugging you, because they're going to want that.
I gotta find.
And I know you still have it. I know you still have it somewhere.
Have it somewhere,
because you don't delete anything, so it's there. But because everybody wants to hear it now.
I know. They're
not used to seeing you all riled up.
Yeah,
nobody believes it. Nobody believes that you get riled up. I believe it, but they don't.
I get riled up. We get riled up. We've had
that's what I'm saying. I believe it, because I've been there, but most of the listeners don't think you have a dark side.
No, they think I'm so Jesus. No, that's why I keep on the bright side.
I know.
It's not even, John. It's
because we can get there. Believe me.
Oh yeah, you don't want to see us when we're angry. It's not even a joke. That's why we get along so well.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Good stuff. Real good stuff. We got some tweaks. A fun tweak conversation, I think, that you and I had the other day. We'll get into that. bunch of listener experiences. But John, it's time right now to we got a bunch of discs, 4K discs coming out on Tuesday too.
Oh, jeez. So
I
more
know.
to add to my list. I got to start paying attention now to the discs that are coming out.
I know.
It's like I went to the HD Blu-ray forum or whatever website it is.
Yeah.
And I went all the way back to last December, which was the last disc I bought. And I made a list of everything that's come out since then that I needed. So
it's like, can't wait for Black Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I put them all in my cart at Best Buy, and then once a week I just look at the cart and see which ones are on sale, and then I start chopping them off my list. So.
Caught for the cart as a kaleidoscope, but that's okay.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Oh, all right. Before we get to that, we've got a lot. It's our first recording of the month for us, and we're going to be talking our new donation this month, but we're going to get to our promos for our own self promos or whatever. So if you're watching us on YouTube and you've seen us before and you haven't hit subscribe, please do so. Just hit that subscribe button. And John, what are the kids saying about
and mash that like button?
Mash that like button. Follow us along on Twitter at BrightSideHT, or you can email us at brightsidehometheater@gmail.com. And for links to anything we talk about, all the fun stuff, how to support us, all that, and links to all the shows, you can go to brightsidehometheater.com. And John, would you like to speak about your favorite?
That would be patreon.com, DJ. Patreon.com/the Brightside Home Theater.
Yep, /Brightside Home Theater, where you can give as little as $1 or as much as you'd like. And we have some patrons. We have some new ones this week. What do we got here, John?
We have one new one and then a couple of increases.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Andrea Minoya is a new patron.
Yep.
Signed up August 31st. And then we had Tom Harrigan, who doubled his contribution starting in September.
Monthly. He was just a patron of the week a few weeks ago, I believe.
Yeah.
So he's been around a long time. He just doubled his. And then the other one.
Carl Rikichi?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to say it, but also doubled his contribution starting in September. So
yes,
thank you to all of you and to everybody else that's already contributing.
Yes, thank you very much. And what was funny is Carl doubled his like right after we recorded last week. I looked down, I'm like, he had doubled his, and we had literally just had that conversation like a few weeks ago. And he was like, he's already donating a good amount. And he's like, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, Carl, you support us in many ways. You don't need to double that. And then he goes and does it. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Once again, I'll ask you what your son asked you. Are you allergic to money? Like, are you afraid of it?
I'm not allergic to it. I appreciate all the support.
You want to do these donations, and
I know.
To do that, we need people to contribute. So stop trying to talk people off the ledge.
Just want to make sure
you should push them You should push them over the ledge, not talk them off of it. So.
I can't help it. It's just who I am. But anyways, this month is going to be dedicated to John. You'll like this. I couldn't think of another one, but this literally hits me in the heart right now. It has literally hit you in the heart. But it's the American Heart Association.
Yeah.
I figured we would do that one. You've had your experiences with heart issues. And my dad just went through his quadruple open heart surgery bypass thingy. So I was like, I wanted to do that in honor of my father, in honor of you, in honor of my father-in-law. I mean, we all know somebody, right?
Right.
So, we have one on the show. And I'm doing everything I can to prep for my turn because apparently it's very hereditary. So give now. Hopefully I live through mine too.
There you go.
But so we're going to be doing that this month. You can go to heart.org and it's literally right there. Donate now. It's right there on the page. I've already looked it up. Links are already. I've already done up the show notes for this. But yeah, the American Heart Association. The other one that my wife suggested was actual Beth Israel Deaconess, where my father had his surgery. And I thought, I'm like, well, that's a little, you could donate right to them. And I'm like, that's a little too self-serving for, that's just for me. But this is for like everybody. But if you don't want to do this, go to your local place, look up your local hospital that can use the support, because I mean, I don't care where the money goes, but this is what we're going to do. And the patrons. So to help for everybody. So yeah.
Awesome.
You could just, I mean, it's so easy. It's like, you just go right to the page. American Heart. It's like heart.org.
They make it easy to give your money.
God. Yeah. It's
and that's good, because some places it's not. And it's like, look, man, if I have to jump through a bunch of hoops to give you my money, I'm just going to give it somewhere else.
I know. I know. And
shouldn't be hard to give money.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I'm working on ways for us as well. So people could just go and go click, boom. So be able to, you could do I'm working on setting up a one-time donation to us instead of having to do Patreon or something like that. But it's funny. I was talking to Ara about it. Dan was mentioning it to me the other day. I don't know actually if it was recorded or if we talked about it afterwards, but he's like, is there a way you can, like, he actually mentioned, is there a way for like a listener or anybody to like sponsor a whole show? And the number he put out, I was like, you don't have to do that, but there you go, John, right?
There you go, DJ.
And he goes, and I was like, I'm working on it, but I go to Ara and Tom all the time. They're the ones that set up their stuff. But I went to Ara with this one. I'm like, how do you do that coffee thing? Because I want to do boxes of popcorn, and I was going to have a small, medium, large. That's my idea. That's what's coming eventually. That's why I tweeted out that box of popcorn. And Ara's like, oh, it's really easy. You just do this, and then you put the code in here, and you do this, blah, 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 and then you just click on it, and it goes right to your PayPal. Okay, for the guy that writes code for a living,
it was super easy.
Let me tell you how to paint a bumper.
Right.
So yeah, so that, that's all that stuff. And, but yeah, we'll be talking about that again next week. Thank you to everybody supporting us on Patreon. We really, really appreciate it. Our number is now up to like, what did last I sent you, like 135, 130.
Yeah. Something
like that.
That was before this week's activity, I think. So
yeah, you're right. I haven't had a chance to look. So you're absolutely right. So thank you everybody. It's great. And, tell your friends, tell your families.
Tell your friends. Yeah.
But all right. You ready to get to some, tweaks?
Well, I am, but we have a patron of the week, DJ.
Oh, I'm sorry, John. That's why I brought you on. You're right. 100%. We did that before.
Yes.
Who's the patron of the week?
Vincent Formella
Nice.
is our patron of the week. 15 months. Vincent has been with us, with you, and now me.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Well, John, look, I bring you on board, and people are doubling. It's.
I know, right?
It's us, buddy. It's us.
It has nothing to do with the fact that you're giving it away to charity. It's all me. So, at least that's what I tell myself when I go to bed.
I'm not. We are. We all are.
Yeah.
Not me. All of us.
No, I know. We are.
So, yes, thank you, Vincent. Thank you to everybody. Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. Really excited. And, all right, let's see. Now, all right, John, now, are you ready to get to tweaks?
Sure.
All right. There we go. The little construction noise is going.
Which I still can't hear.
Let me open this with, this is what I get from John the other day. I love this. It's a Basix A3 3-channel power amplifier. Screen grab of that with the caption, "Talk me off the ledge or push me over." So we had our conversation, but there's way more we could elaborate on here. But let me ask you this. How did you end up down this rabbit hole? And it is a rabbit hole.
It is a rabbit hole, but, again, one of those pesky Facebook forum posts.
Yeah.
And it was not even a discussion necessarily. It was just somebody that added a separate amp to their system, and was talking about it, and it got me thinking about it again. I was thinking about it after you did your upgrade. Now I'm not going the same route, at least initially, that you went,
Right.
where I'm changing my processor and going full separates. I don't have really the space or the budget to do that right now. But I thought about just separating out my front stage and going with this. Now, I will say that you kind of threw a rope on me and tried to keep me from falling over the edge.
Yeah.
But I proved to be too heavy for you. And
did you buy it already?
I fell over the edge anyways. Yeah, because it's already on its way to me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And
so did you go with the 3?
I went with the 3. And I mean, I completely understand your reasoning.
Okay.
And why you kind of tried to talk me away from the 3. But the power difference in the 5 and 6 channel amplifiers was drastic, like really a lot lower, unless you get into the really high tier expensive amplifiers. And like I said, I'm not looking to do that right now.
Right.
So again, this is something I'm gonna slide in. I'm gonna use the preamp, the preamp out on my AVR and hook up my LCR to this and see where it goes. I know it's the first step in probably a rabbit hole that will take me down other pieces. And eventually this will probably end up being just a dead piece of equipment for me, which is why you kind of tried to talk me out of it. Because the 3 channel is an odd, there's no pairing other than LCR. Like there's nothing else you can really run with it.
Right.
That would make sense. So, at some point when I, upgrade to the, real expensive 5 channel amp or something, then I'm going to be sitting with this piece of equipment that I can't use. But again, I'll just sell it to fund the upgrade.
Yeah. You can always sell it. And you were right. And that was part of our conversation. I was like, see, to me, it was like I said, I'm like buying a 3 channel amp like that at what is it? What is the wattage? 165?
140.
140.
140 at 8 ohms. But and I almost jumped on the 6 channel because, like I said, when you suggested it, it made sense. I was like, oh, well, I'm just going to buy this one. It's only $120 more.
But it's 100 watts a channel, right?
But it's 100 watts a channel.
Right.
Actually, it might have been 90 watts a channel at 8 ohms.
It's the one I have, but yeah.
But it's just such and that's fine for surrounds and Atmos, but I wanted more power for my front, for my front sound stage. So, and there was no configuration of channels that got me as high of a power as the A3 did.
3, yeah.
Yeah. And again, unless I jumped up into the $1,700, $1,800, $2,000 amps, and I wasn't looking to spend that kind of money. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get it and get it put in. I got my shipping notification today. So, should be here in a couple of days, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And then I got to figure out how to slide it in past my wife and get it all hooked up and ready to go. So
yeah, she'll be all right with that.
She'll be fine with it.
Yeah,
honestly, it's not that big of a deal, but because I'll just say, I gave up my dream of the $6,000 Kaleidoscape and I only spent $550.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Look how much I saved you, honey.
Yeah. Yeah, you gave it up for now.
Yeah, but for now, it's not.
Yeah,
it is on life support, but it's not dead.
Right. But yeah, just to let everybody know, like what I had replied to you was the idea of like you starting at a 3, but that's a start. I know you, and I know you're gonna eventually be like, well, now I got this, but I want to upgrade to that. And you probably end up at an XPA, and then like either running with a full XPA, saving up your money and getting a full 11 channel, which is basically kind of what I have here. Or you do like I did, you do the 2 pieces, but get your 11 plus channels that you need. And when you start with just that 3,
I know.
And it's still just that 3, and that's at 140. And it's like, usually that's why I was like, I would be willing to bet, and I'll be interested to hear what the listeners think. Even at the 90 on the 6 channel, I'll bet you that 90 at 6 is probably cleaner, more power than what you're getting right now.
Oh, I'm sure it is, because again,
right?
I've got 140 watts AVR, right? 140 watts per channel, I think it is. But again, spread out over 11 channels.
Yeah.
So yeah, even the 90 watts of clean power probably would have been an upgrade.
Yeah.
But like I said, I know the other part of it is even though you say you know me, and you do, and I go down these rabbit holes pretty quickly once I kind of decide I want to do them.
Like a slip and slide.
But I'm also limited in the space. Like, I don't necessarily have the room to go full separates. I can slide this 1 amp into my my entertainment center, and I have room for that. I don't have room for any other pieces. So if I want to go with anything else, now granted, like if I went with a Marantz processor, it would just take up the space of the Denon that I have.
But then I still have to figure out for another amp.
Right. But I still have to figure out where these other pieces would go. So without buying a separate dedicated rack that would sit somewhere in my living room that my wife won't allow, because like I'm really pushing the limit at this point of what she's going to tolerate, in my living room.
Let me refresh the listeners. Yeah. He's pushing the limit with a 123-inch projection screen on the
with
wall.
A 6-inch black velvet border around the screen.
In a living room.
Yeah. And a full, 11-channel speaker array. So, 3 subwoofers. I'm lucky I get away with that. So honestly, any piece I buy has to fit somehow into that entertainment center.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. So,
yep.
But where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm sure if there's a will, I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Once it's in the house, it's like, it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. Right.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, look what got dropped off. Yeah. Whoops. Now, where are we
She just walks by She walks by the wall of the screen every other day or so and just shakes her head and continues to walk by into the bedroom. Yeah.
Has she ever had like friends over, like her friends, not your friends? Because your friends would be like, yeah, but her friends will be like, what the hell are you allowing?
Family, not friends. I mean, like the kids have been over, and they've all commented. They've all made comments about it. But most of them think it's cool. They all want one until I tell them how much it was, and then they back off.
Right.
Yeah. But they're like, "Oh, that's awesome. How much was that?" Oh, okay. So
yeah, that's like when I get little kids that come into my Stewart screen and they'll go to whack at it with their hands.
Right.
And you're like, "Don't do that.
Don't
let them do that." And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Is it expensive?" I go, "Yeah." Well, how much? I was like, a lot.
Yeah.
And then you tell them, and they're like, "No, sir. Just the screen?" Yeah. Like, why? Because I like it.
I know. I posted the screen I use in the AWOL forum group the other day because somebody was asking about their screens. And like I had 2 people comment back and go, "That's a lot of bank for a screen." And it's like, it's a lot of bank for a projector. Like the screen is almost as important, if not as important, as the projector, right?
Oh, so yeah.
If I'm going to spend all this money on a projector, why would I skimp out on a $400 screen or what have you? It's like I'm going to spend the money. Maybe it's a little overkill. I don't know, but I'm happy with it, and I feel like I bought the screen that complements the projector.
Especially when you're getting into an ambient light rejecting screen,
right?
Because the quality of those goes up in how any screen, to be honest with you, the quality is in the consistency of the image across the screen. So when you don't want any blooming, you don't want anything going up. Like if you're just throwing a white screen up there, a white light on it, and you start to see like halos of colors reflecting off the, that the lower screens, that's what you'll get. And with ambient light rejecting, that's a whole other technology that the more you spend, you're going to get a higher quality, more consistent image off of that ambient light rejection. Right. And, that's what you're paying for. And you're
I'll be honest with you.
You can start with a 400, but you'll see an upgrade when you.
And honestly, I didn't think it was a lot of bank for a screen.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was like fairly normal,
Right.
like, well, what it should be,
Yeah, but a
So-
lot of people look at it and go, I could get away with a painted wall. And
they
especially
do,
in the
yep.
forums you like to frequent, people like, can I
Right.
use white paint? Yeah, you can, but you'll notice you'll get a better image if you do this, and then you'll do
Right.
this. And to your point, it's like you're spending all of this money on a projector.
Right.
It's like I always wanted a painted wall too when I was looking at getting like a $400 projector just down at Best Buy to get me anything big on the screen. Right. But then once you start to go up in your projectors, you want something to complement that. And
Exactly.
you know,
Well, and this screen will go through any iteration of projector I ever have. Like
short
any
throw.
upgrades,
Yeah.
well, a short throw, right? Like any ultra short throw projector I ever buy to replace this one, the screen will be there. Like I won't have to invest that money again unless it gets damaged somehow. Like it's never going to go
Right.
bad. It's not going to expire. There's no components to wear out. Like it's just there. So I'll always have it. So I just didn't feel like it was that. I didn't feel like it was that much money or that big of a deal. But
and you like it. That's all that matters.
and I like it.
And
I'm
you
happy
like
with
it.
it.
Yeah,
Right.
and
And that's
you're
what I
happy
told the
with it.
guys. Like, look, I'm happy with it. So
Yeah.
if it was too much, oh well, I'm happy. I'm happy with it. You know?
Exactly.
So,
That's one of the things about those forums that cracks me up is people telling you like, no, you did it wrong.
right.
Wait, I'm liking it. Maybe it's wrong
Exactly.
to you.
Like I'm
like
I'm
it.
happy. So
Like,
it can't be wrong.
yeah, exactly.
So.
Exactly. So, all right. I had a minor rabbit hole of my own this week. I went down the gamma correction
Oh yeah.
rabbit hole. Yeah. And I started experimenting with, normally everything's calibrated to 2.4. And I started messing with the 2.6 to the point that I actually set it as a memory on my Harmony Elite. So, like, I have game every time I put on, it goes to the PlayStation, my system automatically, my projector, everything, my projector goes to game mode. But then
Right.
when I would come out, it would go to reference mode for everything else.
Right.
Well, I also have a button on there because sometimes it just doesn't kick in or whatever. And I'll be looking at my image and be like, this doesn't look right. But Joe had been playing games the night
It
before.
looks like 12 strong. It's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what the hell? And I hit the button. I'm like, oh, okay. Reference kicks on. Reference calibration kicks in. And I'm like, okay, that's good. So I put the long press on that same one for the, I calibrated it, film cinema 1. And so now I can jump between the two. And while the 2.6 is nice, it gives you, it's a little bit more punchier, right? It's a higher contrast. So you get deeper blacks and stuff, but it's kind of tricking it. There are times, there's only one movie that I might watch the entire movie this way. I'll tell you that in a second. But everything else, it was like, all right, that's kind of nice. But I did a lot of back and forth and looking to see the detail that you're losing. Because when you go to a deeper black like that, you can lose some detail in the shadows and stuff.
Right.
And even like a show like C, that one, for the most part, it looks pretty good. The 2.6, a little punchier when you're streaming something and it gives you that deeper black. But then there are some scenes where you're like, they're in caves or something like that. It's a nighttime scene. And you see the difference that, wow, okay, I didn't even see that stool in the shadows over there. But then when you go to the 2.4, the correct, it's everything's there. It's nicer, right? The one exception that I haven't been able to see a difference where anything was missing, I should say, the Batman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you know how we were all saying before, I think Jeff was the one that actually coined the phrase, it looks like chocolate black, like the colors in that movie are a little warmer, the darks are a little warmer. When you go to 2.6, I haven't found a scene yet because it's so gradation. The gradation of it is so well done that when you go to the 2.6, you could still see everything there. But now, I mean, it's just a little darker, and you're getting a richer black. So it was actually pretty cool. All the scenes that I watched and stuff like that. So
Cool.
I wouldn't recommend it 100% of the time. I just fun to mess around with. But yeah, anybody wants to try that out, check that out. If you can do it with your projector or your display or whatever. But it's a 2.4 is what you're supposed to be at. It's pretty much what everything calibrated for. And then, but 2.6, the preference thing from what I'm understanding, but you do lose a little bit in the detail in most content, but the Batman looked pretty good. Looked pretty good like that. So
cool.
Yeah. So tweaks. Trying to tweak your experience.
Yeah.
All right. You ready to get to some listener comments for this week?
Sure.
All right. Let's see. What do we got here? Get these out. Ugh. Listener. Oh boy. Here we go. All right. First up. Tweet from WV Brew at Brightside HT. Must use Atmos demo download to zip drive I got to play on my Xbox One. Very cool, fun video. It's safe. It's Techno Dad. And he sent that link. It's a YouTube video that you can hear it. I didn't actually get a chance to check this out, but it's a YouTube video that I guess you download it and then I could run it right through my Zapidi to check that out.
Right.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I'll have to check that one out. When did this one come in? I start with like the first ones and then go through and it's like, you forget. Joe Klusnick emails. He's like, downloaded Maverick from Kaleidoscape. Not sure what the big deal is all about. It's the Maverick, the movie with Mel Gibson.
Oh, Maverick.
I'm not seeing it.
And Jodie Foster. Wasn't Jodie Foster in that with him?
Yep. Yeah. And what the heck was his name? James Garner.
James Garner, yeah.
Yeah.
He was Maverick. He was the original Maverick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
YouTube comment for DTSX versus Dolby Atmos. Is there a difference? This is from Andrea Manoia, our new patron. I just wanted to let you know I found this channel actually looking on Reddit for info on Dolby Atmos versus DTSX. And I'm a patron now. Love the podcast. Look at that.
Awesome.
So, you know what I found interesting about that? Like, so they were on Reddit. But they found us through there because I'm not on Reddit yet.
Yeah,
maybe somebody mentioned it or something like
that.
Or
just a rabbit hole that you follow, because Reddit kind of leads you to other places and
but they ended up on me.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just Googled it, and because they were Googling it, we came up with the podcast. Right. But I thought that was pretty cool. We are working behind the scenes on a Brightside home theater fan forum. So news on that coming soon. Speaking of forums and stuff, but it's going to be a Brightside forum where it's just all fun, all listeners. All right. Awesome. Chris Brown tweets at Brightside HD. I just came across this video after listening to your Takeover Tuesday episode. Seems like Mad VR might be the solution you need for Top Gun Maverick aspect ratio switching. And I watched this. And I talked to Nelson about it because he has on his Kaleidoscape, he had altered the image because he has a Lumigen like myself. And he altered it so that he would have a consistent image using the Lumigen. Right. What the Mad VR does is it actually in real time, it'll switch it out for you. And it when you start to watch it, it's pretty cool. Okay. So if you have a CinemaScope screen and you have a Mad VR, you can set it up so that you just have CinemaScope the entire time and you don't miss anything. Right. It takes the image, it takes that IMAX enhanced image and fits it into a CinemaScope screen. Now, that being said, it's cool to see. I hate it because it's not the image. It's like the example that they used, the guy in the video, when he was doing it, he used, Interstellar. Okay.
Okay.
So they used the scene of Interstellar when they were launching the rocket. And when they're inside the rocket and you see, what's his name? McConaughey, they're launching and you see them and it's a CinemaScope image. And then they go to the boom for the rocket launching. They go to the IMAX version. So it keeps switching back and forth. And he goes, and now look at it with the Mad VR doing the work. And so a rocket has a curve to it. Like if you're looking over the top of the rocket, you'll see the curve of the rocket.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what they did is they stretched it out. They used the Mad VR to stretch it out. So the rocket goes like this, like an S at the edge, because it's not a full round rocket anymore. Because now you've stretched the edges and it looks weird. And I'm like, and then the guy even says in the video, well, you see how like this over here, and he points it out and he goes, you can actually fine tune that to make it perfect. Really? Then why didn't you do that for your video about how perfect it can be? Yeah. Like, no, you
should have already done that.
You should have done that. It's like, what are you doing, right? So the Lumagen can't do what the Mad VR does. It can't do it that fast. And it was pretty cool. I like my Lumagen for exactly what it does, tone mapping. And that's it. I don't want to alter the images because I want my images to be exactly what the director intended. I don't want to be stretching them. I don't want to be doing all of this. And it's funny that they market this stuff to people. Like the Lumagen's capable of doing it. And like you can, but it's more permanent. Like you fix an aspect ratio and it'll just do the whole movie like that, right?
Right.
But the idea is, so you've got somebody with a CinemaScope screen, and because they want the real experience of a CinemaScope and they want to, that's what they want. So they want to see what the director intended on CinemaScope, but now they're going to take everything else and just fudge the bejesus out of it. It's like, there's an inconsistency there somewhere. And it's like, and the other thing is the Mad VR is like, it's insane money. It's like, I think it's like 3 times the price. Even more.
Yeah. They're like 15 grand or so.
Yeah, they're like 15 grand where you can pick a Lumagen up for pretty much under 5, just under 5 or roughly around 5, but they're online and stuff. And but yeah, it's crazy money. And but they're fantastic. But the idea, what I love about the Mad VR is you can tweak it and mess with it and do all this fun stuff with it. But the idea is these things are supposed to be like set in place and then you just set it and forget it, right? But for people that like to tweak and mess with stuff like I was doing with the, gamma curves and stuff, you can do that. Lumagen, it's a lot harder to do all that stuff, but that's the idea is it's just supposed to be set in place and you never touch it again.
Right.
So, but Mad VR is a little bit more friendly, user-friendly like that, but you're not supposed to be using it anyway. So, but yes, I saw that tweet come in by Chris, and great conversation, Chris. Thank you for sending that in. But it's, for me, it's like, I would love, if I could afford a Mad VR, I'd get a Mad VR, but just because I love to play with stuff. But most of the time, it'd be something that you just do anyways. You do it a couple times and then you'd be done.
Well, right. It's like, it's not like you're going to be tweaking every day.
No. And you go down those rabbit holes.
Yeah, I do.
All right. We have our first giveaway coming up. So we have, let's see, we got Justin. Let me see where I gotta go to his tweet. Justin was nice enough to send us 3 movies. So this week's movie. All right. First person, email me, DM me, no tricks, no nothing, but I'm just going to give away. Let's see. Which one do I want to give away first? I'm going to save that one for last. All right. Digital code for Men in Black. 4K digital code, Men in Black, 3 easy steps. I'm looking at the digital code right here. We'll give away in one next week and then the week after that. And they get better as you go. So Men in Black, 4K. You can win all 3. You can do whatever you want with it. But the first person to email me and say you want the Men in Black digital code, email or tweet at me. Just let me know, and it's all yours. And that's compliments of Justin Van Camp on Twitter, at Justin_2005. Thank you very
Awesome.
much, Justin. We'll be doing another movie next week. So yeah, thank you very much for that. He had him sitting there lying around. He's like, you know what? Decided he's going to give us 3 movies, digital codes to give away. I'm like, pretty cool.
Awesome.
Thank you very much for thinking of us, Justin. So there you go. Let's see. Justin giveaway. Got to remember to leave that one in for next week too. Behind the scenes of the Kaleidoscape experience, Mr. Motown. I'm glad you enjoyed Hunter Killer. Not the greatest movie, but definitely some great demo scenes. Thanks for the shout out. No problem, Mr. Motown. Thank you for reminding me that it's a great movie. I loved it. Let's see. Next up, behind the scenes of the Kaleidoscape, Theater Man 77. I wish they would get Hotel Artemis on Kaleidoscape. He's not the first person to say that. I've heard that a few times. Behind the scenes of the Kaleidoscape, Josh Demovsky. When's Kaleidoscape going international? Need it in my home. I believe somebody else asked this one as well, if they're in Australia and stuff. I would say the best thing to do for that stuff, I've asked them for Steve. It is
just contact them.
Yeah, just email them. Go to kaleidoscape.com, pretty much Kaleidoscape, not scope, kaleidoscape.com. Contact them. They'd be more than happy. I mean, they are more than happy to look into or tell you when, where, how to get whatever you need to get. That's the best advice I would give on that. And on Steve and I know there's people in England that have them. They have a European branch. I know there's one coming up on, somebody mentioned Australia. So I'm not really sure about that, but I would just go there. Ask them.
Yep.
G Cornell. Yeah, he said HBO Max series, Peacemaker. He has, and he sent me an image. This is another one of those funny things. He has the digital video disc, digital VHS copy of the Peacemaker with George Clooney and Nicole Kidman.
Oh.
And it's like, and we were talking about Peacemaker last week. I was talking about, because Steve George just got it this week on Blu-ray. Yeah. And by the way, I happen to see that is available. I'm sure I'll talk about this with Steve too. That is available on Kaleidoscape in Blu-ray quality.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. I was actually thinking of getting it and seeing how it compares to, because it was
HBO Max.
Yeah, it was HBO Max. I think it was just was that even in 4K? I don't
pretty
remember.
sure it was. I don't recall, but I thought it was.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out.
I'd have to, I don't know for sure, but.
Because I know that like our Blu-ray stuff, Blu-ray on Kaleidoscape is like better than 4K, a lot of 4K stuff on streaming.
On streaming.
Right? So, and the same would be said for disc too. The discs it's just better. Let's see. Yeah, you mentioned Clooney. Okay, here's another, a YouTube. Adam Janetta. Great session with Luke. I've been eyeing Kaleidoscape. My biggest hesitation, other than the cost, is what happens if Kaleidoscape disappears. Is there a contingency where the studios will honor the rights the users have purchased to the digital copies of the movies? That's a big risk I would love to see taken off of the consumers. I replied back to him on the on YouTube, but for everybody, I've mentioned it here on the podcast before. Everything is yours. It's just like having your own physical version, but it's physical on the hard drive. Once you download it, you can disconnect from the internet. You don't need any support to play that movie inside your inside your home, inside your ecosystem.
Right. But I guess my only little contradiction to that would be, like, if they suddenly disappeared tomorrow with no warning, which I wouldn't imagine would happen. Like, even if things went south, I would imagine there'd be a shutdown, like a wean off period where you can handle your business. But let's say they just went away tomorrow. Everything that's physically on your hard drive is yours. Mm-hmm. But if you were managing stuff in the cloud, like let's say you were managing space and you had half your movies offloaded and they went away, you do lose all that stuff, right? Like there's no way to get that.
If their servers,
no way to get it back. Right. If their servers just went away, like
servers go away, you are correct. But to the point of his question with the rights with the studios,
Right, that's yours.
That's yours. You have them. Most of their customers don't necessarily manage like I do. Like we do, right? Like we
Right.
would, like you would do.
Yeah, they just buy more hard drives.
They just buy more. And that's, I eventually want to get to that and get another
Right.
hard drive. But that's what, like, and that would be a nice thing. Like if all of a sudden they were like, yeah, we're going out of business in 6 months. Be like, all right, I'll just get another hard drive and I'll load up everything on there.
Right.
Like, all right. But to the point of like, once you have the system, once you own everything in-house, people manage these things in a completely other way, the exact opposite way, right? And that they'll have them on their yachts or they'll have them in a cabin in the woods with no internet connection. And they just bring in a hard drive. They bring in a Terra server, connect it, and they're off and running. It's preloaded. And that's how they manage these things. It's like,
right. But see, I'd be doing the hard drive shuffle because like I'm coming in, looking to come in at the 6 terabyte,
right.
And, and managing movies, through the cloud, until eventually I could buy more,
space,
again, more pieces, more space. But,
right.
But again, I would think that even if they, unless there's like a nuclear war that just like bombs all their servers, like I would imagine even if they were going out of business, they'd be like, hey, you got 30 days or 60 days to download all your, get all your stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your affairs in order before we go away.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine them just like shuttering the doors and closing up shop in one day. You know, there's no world where I can see that happening. So,
right. See, but that's the thing but the difference is, I mean, is that a fear? Yeah. If all of a sudden I found out they were going out of business, I don't think I would buy another big hard drive because I'm like, it's over. Right.
Right.
So
keep what you have.
Keep what I got and save my favorite movies or whatever. But it went nuclear. That's not like,
right.
But what people are concerned with is what happens with the digital stuff. Like, all of a sudden such and such lost the rights to this, so you can't stream it anymore. They don't have the right to stream that to you anymore. If you bought a movie and say they took the rights away from Kaleidoscape, but you already have it on your server, you got it. You own it, right? You already have it. It's a completely different way of looking at it. A lot of people, because it's downloaded, a lot of people equate it to streaming like one for one, and it's not. It's not even close. That's just the conduit to get you the movie. But like when you're streaming a movie, it's sending the information back and forth as you're watching the movie. Right. The Kaleidoscape, the whole movie is sitting there. You have
it's more akin to physical media.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Which that's a whole other conversation that I wanted to get to today too. But yeah, everything you have, you own. As long as it's on your hard drive, you own it. So that's kind of it's not super simple answer, but it is actually pretty simple. It's once you have it, you own it. Okay, email Paul. Paul says, hi DJ. So on the Integra, there are 3 buttons. Oh, okay. This is the one where, let me see. He asked, I didn't get back. All right. I said I didn't get back to you. He said, listen to the rest of the Dolby DTS podcast today. Very interesting. So it makes me wonder if both Dolby and DTS are capable of the exact same thing. And like you said, and I agree, there's less DTS content than Dolby, but a higher percentage of it is better. If I worded that right, then are they truly the same? Or do the sound engineers at DTS do a better job? Or does none of this matter anyway and just press play? He said, one more question at your convenience. You mentioned in another podcast, don't remember which, that you preferred movies, the game mode on the receiver. Could you elaborate on that, please? Yes, I will elaborate on that in a second. To his point about is the sound engineer on DTS doing a better job. Yes, that's been my point the entire time. But I don't think it's necessarily they're just doing a better job. It's up until, and we've had a few, I think we're going to get a few here. We've had a few people mention other movies that are both in like say they're in Atmos on Kaleidoscape, but they're also in DTSX out on disc somewhere.
Right.
Zombieland, for instance, that came out IMAX enhanced, and on Kaleidoscape, it's in Atmos. So there are other experiences to do this. And I didn't get a chance this week to actually go and A/B any of that stuff, but I would imagine it'd be much like Jurassic World Dominion, where it's so damn close.
Right.
It's negligible, right? I didn't really notice a difference. Nelson noticed a difference in the music. There might have been a slight difference in maybe like the way the pant leg moved
Right.
something on a bass. But yes, they're both capable of the same thing from what I understand. But yes, none of it matters. Just go press play, because like I said, 5.1 is awesome. It's like, Nolan has mastered 5.1, and I put that up against everything. Now, game mode. Game mode, you have on he has an Integra. I have a Marantz. My Denon had the same thing, but you have movies, music, and game mode. And what the reason I choose game mode is because game mode is set up for like first player shooters, where you want to hear exactly where the sounds are coming from in the game, and it's like it's more discreet. Each channel is getting exactly what it was supposed to be doing, as opposed to movie mode, which kind of widens and makes your room feel bigger than it really is. So it adds some, like, I don't know, some math to the equation, right? Because it's messing with it. And I think the music, if I remember right, it widens your front stage or something like that. For music, if you're just going to sit and listen to music, whereas game mode is more just discreet. And everything we're watching now, whether it's 5.1 or Atmos or whatever, it's all discreet. So that's what you want anyways. And you want, let the sound designers let their stuff through. I don't want anything mixing it and trying to make my room feel bigger than it is or anything. I did that in the 90s. I had my Yamaha. I did all that fun stuff. Now I just want game mode, where it's more discreet, accurate to where the speaker is, and let the two speakers put a imaginary speaker in. That's how it's mixed. So that's why I choose those. Let's see what he said. Theater dimension only comes up with the movie button. So yeah, he was like, on the Integra, there are 3 buttons that scroll the sound settings, movie, game, and music. There are some choices that rotate that are button specific, like stereo only comes up when using music button. Theater dimension only comes up on the movie button. However, modes like DTSX and Dolby Surrounds come up in all 3. So are you saying DTS and Dolby's will sound a bit different depending on which button I select them with? Not uniform across the movie, music, and game. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, it's so like if you're in DTS and I actually upmix. If it's in Dolby 5.1, I'll upmix it to DTSX Neural. I feel like that's punchier. I kind of like that one. I don't upmix or mix my Dolby. I don't like if it's Atmos or DTSX, that I just leave that alone. I don't mix that at all.
Right.
But yeah, you just play around with them. And again, these are what I like. You might like your room in movie mode or music mode or something, but I know, like if I get in my room and I'll look down, and every now and then, I don't know why, Gremlins or something, but I'll look down, I'm like, this movie sounds funky. And I'll look down and be like, I'm in music mode? What am I doing in music mode? I don't know why, and I'll hear it. I'll know it. I'll be like, things just aren't reacting the way I would expect. But that's from years and years of game mode, just knowing that's what that sounds like. Are you in game mode, John?
I am. Yep.
Yeah. So, mess around with it. See how it feels. It's all about you, Paul. Let's see. John with the Rings of Power. So he wrote an email to me. I won't read the entire thing, but he's like, I'll read the beginning. This is by far the best looking and sounding show I have ever seen on streaming, talking about the Rings of Power. So I wrote him back an email describing blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's great and I really like it. And we'll get into more of this in a little bit. And I said, I don't know if it's the best ever. And then he wrote back, I do tend towards hyperbole. So when I say something is the best, that really means this is really good.
Right.
Which I think is great. And that's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, we do it here. We're like, this is the best thing, But when you do it, especially I become more conscious of it. You and I have become more conscious of it because we're recorded every week.
Right.
And if you're recording yourself every week saying this is the best.
This is the best.
And it's like, but all you have to add in is one. This is one of the best,
Right.
And it's the little tricks like that with the English language. One of my favorites is from Bill Belichick. You ever watch him compliment a player? Never met anybody that worked harder than them.
Right.
You'll never find anybody better than that guy. You'll never find, meaning like, doesn't mean he's the best. I can say that about every person I've ever met, right? Nobody better than that guy. Oh, what? You said the same thing about me. Right. You guys are equal. You're both awesome. Right? But he's not saying the best. He's saying never find anybody better than that. I'll never play for anybody more. And Brady does the same thing. What do you think of Belichick? Right. You'll never play for a coach more prepared than him. You telling me I'm not prepared? No, I'm telling you equal to him. There you go. Knock yourself out. Right? But you're not actually qualifying. You're just saying nobody works harder than him. I work hard. I know, but you're not working harder than him. Oh yeah, you're right. Okay. Little tricks, but it sounds like a compliment. Next. Look at that. We just did a sports moment, John.
I know.
Tweet from
Been a while.
Yeah, I know. Tweet from WV Brew at Brightside HT. What has been the last good comedy released theatrically? A good comedy is so much fun. Where did all the comedies go? Seriously, we need another Hangover. And he sent a picture of Will Ferrell with it. But he's right. It's like, when was the last time we went to the theater for a big comedy? And
can't think of one.
Yeah. I can't, like you said, like The Hangover or something like that. It's like, I think this is.
Well, I mean, they had the Coming to America 2, which went to Amazon Prime, but was supposed to be a theatrical release. That would probably qualify.
Yeah.
As a big budget, or not even necessarily big budget, but like a blockbuster comedy, because Eddie Murphy.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I can't think of too many.
No. I think COVID kind of just did that in. It's like they just put them on streaming.
Right.
A great comedy is going to be in a stream. They're going to stream it because I don't think comedies have ever been a blockbuster.
No, they're not. They don't do $1 billion. They don't do $1 billion.
No, they're fun. It's a fun date night, but they need to be pulling in $1 billion or thereof. Half of that, anyways. But it's I think of I think of like Dumb and Dumber or even The Hangover or I can't think of other ones. Anchorman, all the Will Ferrells, but they never did like huge numbers. But they were cheaper to make, too. There's not a lot of special effects in those.
Well, a lot of those movies don't have successful theatrical runs either. They become like cult hits.
Right.
Once
they go to streaming.
Yeah. And so why, just cut out the middleman and go right to streaming,
Exactly. Behind the scenes, the Kaleidoscape experience, Darren Bentley. I had to leave a comment here regarding your DIY masking video. Thank you, all caps. You totally rock. Subbed. Here we go, John.
Awesome.
Got another one. Reel them in.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. Spider-Man 3D. Oh, this one came in today. Or the other day, actually. WV Brew says, picture perfect 3D transfer, bombastic 5.1 DTS track. 3D disc is region locked, but if you have a player, this disc is reasonably priced, unlike some of the latest Marvel 3D movies. I haven't seen that one in 3D yet. That was it No Way Home? Yeah. No Way Home. So he found that and just said, yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home in 3D. So you could search for it. I know he didn't send a link to where to buy it. But yeah. All right. Let's see. But he says it's really good. Let's see. Gary Stinton. I'd quite happily get a Kaleidoscape setup, but my question is, natively, can it work in Australia? Or are there more steps needed before it will? Again, that's what I knew that one was coming. I would email, go to kaleidoscape.com and email them. Right. They would be able to help you with that. That was, Tom Harrigan from Patreon. And more 3D movies from WV Brew. Big 3D fan. He bought pretty good deal considering Amazon Japan, Black Widow 4K plus 3D, and Doctor Strange Madness 4K 3D plus 3D. What happened there? That was weird. My screen just went funny. He got both of those for $106 total with priority shipping. Black Widow by itself, usually $100.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So, WV Brew, he shops all over. He's the one that told me about the Germany ones. He shops all over the world for these things. And I'm always like, how do you do? I don't have the time or the patience. And I'm like, send me a link, will you? That's what
and like there's an Amazon for every country.
Yeah.
And you can go and shop those things, but I don't mess with it either. But I know that they exist.
Yeah.
I know there's a.
Yeah. So there's a way to do it. And, smarter people than me are like, this is all you do. And I'm like, not that, like, I go on and be like, you're not here. I'm not.
Right.
Do these people have VPNs, do you think? Or
probably.
Like, it won't let me, and maybe that's why.
Yeah, they're probably using VPNs.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Because, you have to, like, for instance, when I was in Italy and I tried to pull up Amazon, it pulled up Amazon Italy. Yeah. I couldn't actually get the US version. So I believe it's all geo-locked. So you have to have a VPN to trick it into thinking you're there. But I guess then where are you shipping it? Because then if you start shipping it to US addresses, doesn't that kind of give you away? I don't know.
I guess it works. I mean,
but I guess you could send, like, I can send stuff to, yeah. I mean, I could send stuff to family and friends, so I could just say, look, I'm sending it back home to my brother or something, right?
So, yeah, exactly. But he finds crazy deals. Like that, like I said, $106 for 2 movies, in 4K and 3D. They each are in 4K and 3D. So really, really cool. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. That brings us to the end of listener experiences for this week, John. Cool. Let's see. What do we got next? Ooh. Right now we go across the pond.
All right.
Yeah, here we go. We're going across the pond. We're going to bring in our buddy, Steve. How you doing, Steve?
I'm very good, DJ. Back from Spain, as you can see. It's not just the tan; it's the headwear as well.
Yeah, exactly. Now? What do they call that in Mexico? It's a sombrero. Is it?
It's the same thing. Same thing. Literally same thing in Spain. Yeah, it's Spanish, but
that's hysterical. We had when I was in high school, we had senior week, and every day was a different day. And back in the 80s, you weren't allowed to wear a hat to school. And so at least, especially the guys, back then, the girls, I think, could, but they had hat day. So that was the day that whatever hat you wanted to wear to school, you're a guy, you wanted to wear your baseball cap, you could. And I came to school with a sombrero.
So this bringing back memories there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm walking down the hall with a big white sombrero on that my grandparents had brought me back from Mexico. And I was like, it was hat day. What are you going to do? Can't stop me. Can't stop me now.
These days, there'd be a 6-month investigation.
Oh, yeah.
The teacher would get suspended. The head teacher would probably be in trouble as well.
Yeah.
The principal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, be a bit more sensitive.
It's a hat.
It's a hat. And a very useful one, too.
Yeah,
but yes,
I know.
But just for the record, I did not buy that in Spain. I've had this for years.
Oh, really?
It's just a part of a fancy. Oh, yes, I'm not that bad. Where I would do that. No, I've had it for ages, and I just thought I'd bung it on just to wind you guys up.
Look at you go! Look at you're bringing props to the show now, Steve. What the hell?
There you go. There we go. Look, John's got his very cool background with all his Star Wars stuff in the background. All I've got is my props. So I've got work to do.
Yeah, I mean, you're in an office today. Your home office there. It looks like you got a bunch of legal stuff going. You got books in the background. You look so proper.
Yeah. It's teaching materials. You see, it's my legal books for lecturing and stuff, which all begins again at the weekend. So yeah, it never stops. Never stops.
Yeah. So let's get into some home theater. How's it been back in Cinema George since you've been home?
I nearly kissed my TV, and I was close to it. I honestly took a number of photos of me, pretending to, and then thought, that's a bit much. So instead, I just tweeted out that picture of me looking very happy with these wads full of discs, which arrived miles away.
Yeah.
So no, it's been very nice being back. I missed Cinema George, and yes, although it hasn't stopped us talking home theater.
No,
it hasn't impacted on our ability to talk.
Nope. Nope. That's great.
A friend of mine I was talking to this morning said to me, he said, "But you've been away. You've only had your iPad. How have you been able to talk home cinema for that long?" And I said, "It doesn't stop."
It doesn't. It doesn't. It's what's funny is it's like, especially talking to more and more people, I'm wondering, I want to start getting some spouses on and significant others on to see if we've like relieved some tension in the house, because now we're talking to each other instead of talking like I know my wife has noticed. She's like, it's great. We go out to dinner for our anniversary and I don't talk home theater. She gets up to go to the bathroom. I check my Twitter and talk to people and stuff, but not to her. For all she knows, it's 100% on her. So
it's bright side sort of marital counseling next.
Yeah,
that's the next podcast. Yeah, exactly. Marital counseling Thursday. I can see it.
Oh,
now.
There we go. We've already got a day picked.
I can see it now. But yeah, so we don't need home theater to be able to talk home theater. It seems.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's great being back, and I've been devouring as much content as work has allowed me to since I've been back. Yeah, it's great. So yeah, no, it's very, very cool. Have you now Dog Soldiers?
Yep.
Have you seen it?
Yep.
Uh-oh. Now, okay.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Okay. So not the classic that I led you to believe that it was.
Well, here's the thing. I have I have that one. I have the slipcover for it. It's a different, the same cover, but I have the slipcover for that. I have no historical classic context to this, right? Mm-hmm. I know some of the people that were in it. I mean, the main character, he ended up in Gotham over here as Alfred. Okay.
Sean Pertwee. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then the other one was on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Liam Cunningham. Yeah, yes. Game of Thrones. That's right. He was the Onion Knight. Yes.
Yes, and he would. Yeah, exactly. And he was great. So much, and they were all so much younger, right? And
yeah.
So yeah, it was entertaining. I felt like at the beginning part, I was like, this is like a remake of Predator, as they're making their way through the woods and stuff, right? And then spoiler free. I mean, it is an older movie, but it does take a twist from there, and I kind of saw the twists as there were a few twists as you go. You see those coming. And I appreciate what you guys are saying about how it's never looked better, right? We know that phrase. Yeah. And it's apparently the Blu-ray version was really, and I did some reading on it, and I guess they lost the negatives. They had to remaster. You read the same review I read. I think. Yeah, they did. They lost the negative. It disappeared. A producer apparently had it, as it turned out, and then it. So the Blu-ray that I've got of it is dreadful. I mean, really, quality-wise, it looks like a pirate copy. It looks like someone took it from a VHS recording in the 80s, and it was the worst Blu-ray I've ever bought. And one where I would have been in. But if you'd come round to my place and said, "I've heard about this film, Dog Soldiers. Can we watch it?" Prior to the 4K disc, I would have said no, because you don't want to watch it that way. Yeah. So in that respect, we've now got the look that it should have. It looks as good as it will ever look.
bearing in mind it's a 16mm,
Right.
shot film, and it's rough and ready. It was micro budgeted.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
it's rough and ready and meant to be that way. But this is now finally how it should at least look. How did you find the audio in terms of the quality of the audio? Because I had some issues with the audio.
Yeah, I found it to be, forgive me, the listener that said this, thin. I love that line.
Yeah.
Thin, very thin.
Yeah.
There was no bass whatsoever. And we had some gunshots, we had some explosions, and there was limited, if any, punch. And when I say that, I'm probably being kind. It was very thin, right? But what was nice is it did have some nice effects going on, upmixing it, right? It's like
the
overheads.
howling.
The howling, but people moving around you while, like, the characters are being stalked, and you've got some noise going in the rear channels, right? And moving pans, stuff like that. But it was all, I'd say, upper range, not high, but upper mid range for sound. But the zero dynamics to the sound of this. It's
the
like
guns are just, are like, sort of pop guns, cap guns. Just really lit. I see, that's where I made a mistake, because as soon as I got back on Sunday, the first film I wanted to see was Dog Soldiers. I'm just like, that's the film I'm going to watch. So 2 weeks away from my cinema room, I get back, I put Dog Soldiers on, and I thought, oh, here we go. I'm looking forward to this. And so it starts, it looks great. And then halfway through, I was thinking to myself, are my subwoofers working? And then I'm thinking, has something happened whilst I've been away? And then also thinking, DJ will be up as I speak. As I'm watching this, I'm thinking DJ will be checking his as well. Because it sounded weird, but also it's very low budget. So and then having watched other stuff since, I realised it's definitely not my system. It is the disc. And how about the dialogue? Were you okay with the Britishness of it all?
I'm pretty good with it. It's like I wish I could remember some of it, but I understand what they say. I get it from context, because a lot of it is, what's funny is that you have the stuff that you have had issues with, like when you first came on, and you'll be like, I get it through context. I mean, I grew up playing hockey. I grew up in locker rooms, and you say weird things to each other in those rooms, and it doesn't even make sense. So when these guys are calling each other names and stuff, and it's a name I've never heard, I still get it. It's like, I understand what they're saying, right? And but I had zero problem with the dialogue. But I can see why people would. It's like, especially if you take stuff literally and you're like, what did he say? And you'd be like, oh, come on, sarcasm, people, let's go.
I sort of half expected you to come with a glossary of terms.
No.
Sort of saying, right, can you let's just go through these, and can you just explain these to me? What is this? What is that?
Right.
Okay. But I mean, and I must admit, when I watched it this time, and I love the film, and to me it's a classic, and lots of people actually on Twitter have been saying since, who've been listening, saying, oh, well done for warning DJ about the Britishness of it, et cetera, et cetera. And then lots of people who don't normally, lawyers that follow me who don't normally make comment on movies, saying, oh, classic film, great film, I think it's a great film. But I must admit, this time watching it, knowing that I had recommended it to you and John, so I was watching it, I think, through your eyes a little bit.
Yeah.
And so as I was doing that, I did think, okay, there might be some problems here, because it's a very, very idiosyncratic film.
Yeah.
And some of the effects work is starting to show its age a bit, although of course it was all practical. None of it was CG.
Right. And that's what I appreciated for it, because like you said, it's 16 millimeter. It's practical effects, which can be, you look at it in today's context and you go, what the hell? Right? Because that's, if you made that movie today, you'd be like, no, this was made in what, 2004, I think?
2002.
Oh, was it
20 years old?
Okay. So 20 years ago, we're on the cusp of, at that point, we're on the cusp of CGI being just simple and cheap, right? It's like, it was still fairly expensive then, but we're becoming more and more like every movie has CGI now, right? Even Midway. And so but this one here is like, it's really kind of, like you said, Dog Soldiers. It's a werewolf version of like, what was the horror movie, In the Woods there with the kid, where we all thought it was real.
The Blair Witch Project.
Blair Witch Project. It's kind of like that. That's how I was going through with it. Going through it, thinking, oh, this is kind of, and they even, to the context of it, there was even a character in the movie taking pictures, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end, you get the you see
Yeah.
the black and white pictures, which I thought was really cool. So I got that, and what I appreciate about it is, Steve, it's like I never would have picked this movie up if it wasn't for you, and that's good though. I mean, that's the point of all of this, right? It's like. And it makes you appreciate what you do have now. And the cheaper, lower budget movies now are, you see where the advancements have gone. So, it's it was fun. And it's like, and I kind of like, especially it was Alfred running through the woods. That was the one that was the character that I got attached to. And then,
well, he's been in lots of movies. I mean, he was in Event Horizon, of course. He's in that. So he's been in Sean Pertwee's. He's the son of someone called, oh gosh. I can't think of what the name of who was a very famous actor in the UK for a show here called Wurzel Gummidge, which was a children's series back in the day. John Pertwee, that's his name. So Sean Pertwee was his son, but he's popped up in all kinds of Paul W.S. Anderson movies, and all kinds of. He's been in lots of movies, so he's quite a well-known character actor in the UK. And so, he was definitely one of those movies, in one of those parts in that movie that you really sort of knew him for. But yeah, no, I do love that film, but I get that it perhaps doesn't quite stack up to, as a new watch 20 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
It might be a bit odd. But there's lots of references to American Werewolf in London, and there's lots of things like that. I mean, when he talks about, they mention some escaped lunatic. That's a direct lift from American Werewolf. And you've got the table there with the howling sort of stuff. There's all kinds of homages. But Neil Marshall then went on to do The Descent, which I think you've seen as well. That's the caving one.
A while ago.
Yeah. So he did The Descent. He then did Doomsday. He then did Centurion. He's directed a number of episodes of Game of Thrones. So he's gone on from this to have quite a big career. But yeah, as I said, for those of us of a particular interest in this kind of schlock horror, it's a great film. Yeah. But yeah, I think you're being diplomatic, and I think I can understand why. So yeah, but I'm glad you've seen it. As I said,
I am too. So what else have you experienced since you've gotten home? Let me see if I've seen any of them too.
Yeah. So Rings of Power. So that I have seen now, episodes 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, you guys saw them last week, didn't you? You guys saw them, you and John, way before I did. But I don't think I haven't listened to your views of it, because I thought, well, I'll watch it.
Well, we do. It's coming up later in this podcast. It is coming up later. John and I talk about it for the first time. So later in this podcast.
I thought you mentioned it last week, but.
Steve, it's the title of the show that we're on. It's a Rings of Power got the title this week. Yeah, because it just dropped on Friday. So John and I already recorded. Yeah. So
there we go. So it now over the weekend I've been reading negative press about it. There was talk about the review bombing, and obviously Elon Musk opened his mouth yesterday or day before, and said, it's all all the main characters are weak, and all really unpleasant stuff. So I'd read all that before I'd seen it, and I'm not a massive super Lord of the Rings Hobbit geek. I liked them. I particularly enjoyed the 4K discs, as you and I have talked about before, and I really like those discs, and probably those discs caused me to engage with those films more than I ever have before. I actually really enjoyed those discs. So I came to this with a fairly agnostic. I was, I'll just see. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. But I thought it was very, very, very good indeed. Both episodes, from a storytelling point of view, from a world building, and from a home theater perspective as well. For streaming, I think it's very, very good indeed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, are you guys the same, or
we love it.
Musk-like.
Yeah, no. We actually do get into that. John and I talk about a little bit about all of that, like that soapbox crap. And that's what we call it. And it's funny, you're mentioning this, John's going to mention some stuff, and I'm like, I hadn't heard of any of it until as soon as you guys mention it, I know exactly what they're going to say. It's not like I haven't seen this stuff before, but I don't get into those things. I don't, and apparently I'm getting good at it too, because I haven't seen it, but I can understand what people are saying, and I don't agree with it, but I know exactly what you guys are talking about and how it reflects on this. And John and I will talk about it more in a little bit, but again, you'll hear me say it then. I'm like, I don't care. I'm there for the experience. It's like, to me, it's like DTS Master Audio versus DTS:X or Atmos. I'm there for the experience. If you give me a good experience, that's all I care about. And it's, and that's all it is.
But this was so good. I mean, again, bear in mind, coming off the back of Dog Soldiers, which of course, as I said, thinking that something was wrong with my system. So then having put this on, and just from minute one, I mean, the ice, that you've got the battle scene, and then you've got the ice wall that they're climbing up, and you've got the wind swirling around the room, and every time they sort of hit the axes, you hear that kind of echo. I was just this is great. And I really liked it. I thought the story was really well done. I like how they're not reinventing the wheel. So Juan Antonio Bandiona, the director, is clearly not trying to fix what isn't broken, which is really, really good. So it looks like the Peter Jackson versions.
Yeah.
There's not, there are the similar camera moves. There are similar kind of visual motifs as well. And as an artistic chap, you will have picked those up as well.
Yeah.
And I think that so I like they've done that. I love the effects work. I like how they're taking their time with it. But yes, and some of the other standout moments, the worm attack, the water sequence, I thought that was really well done. Yep. And the well, again, spoiler alert. I mean, obviously, when one of the creature turns up from underneath the cabin, and it's sort of moving around there, that was really good as well. I really enjoyed it. I think it's good. It's got real potential as a series. So yeah,
I love it. And one of my favorite scenes, I forgot to mention it with John. You'll hear later, but I didn't actually mention this one. 16-minute mark. The snow troll, it's not really a spoiler, it's right. And the way it sneaks up, and I had talked about it on Tuesday. That's why I didn't really get to it with John, but I had talked about it on Tuesday with Dan. And it's like, if you look up on the front, on the left side of your screen at the upper part, you could see behind the character, like something move in the shadow. And like that HDR to do that on streaming, it's like, that's huge, right? To have that kind of detail. I had no crushing going on in those scenes. The black levels were great. The detail in there was great. And one of the things I found interesting, like you were saying, like going back to Peter Jackson's movies. So what I found was like, this movie made me go back. I started Lord of the Rings again. I'm doing Fellowship. I'm in the middle. I'm about 2/3 of the way through Fellowship. And this is the first time I've seen Fellowship since getting the Lumigen and obviously having the Marantz and separates. It is absolutely amazing, right? It's even more amazing now than it was when I watched it before. And that was amazing. But one of the things that I found interesting is, so what Fellowship came out in 01? I think they came out 01, 02, 03, something like that. They're older.
Yeah, they are. I think you're right. I think it was about that. Yeah.
So to be, right around Dog Soldiers, right? Yeah. So you're looking, but obviously higher budget. But my point is one of the things they had a difficulty when I read a lot of the stuff on when they remastered these movies, is one of the things they had trouble with is it was shot on film. How do they remaster this, get it to look good without looking wonky, right? So there were compromises they had to do, and that's some of the stuff that we are like in awe of in seeing the Lord of the Rings movies, right? If they had to do that, going now to streaming, it's almost like with the tech that we have in streaming now, it's like they can almost meet what they had to do for the movies. So visually for us, we're like, this looks great. It doesn't look as good as the movies. I mean, the movies are, hands down, phenomenal. But it looks so good, and it's the same color palettes. It's like you say, camera motions. You have all of that, the framing of the shots, everything. And it's like, now with that, and that's where this podcast comes in. It's about the overall experience, right? And we're all so excited to get back into this world and have it be like, I can't wait for next week. And it's like, so you know what I mean? So any flaws that were there, and I looked for some, I didn't really see any. It's not as crisp as a physical disc. But I mean, once you're into it, and you'll be like, this looks fantastic.
It's pretty close.
Yeah,
it's pretty close. I mean, I was looking at some of the fabric weaves on the elves' costumes, and if you look at the close-ups, you can see the individual pores of their skin, and there's a light bit of hair on one of the sort of stubble on. So it's pretty close to physical disc. I mean, I picked up one or two CGI flaws, very slightly in terms of the digital extensions, but you've got to be looking for it.
Right.
Overall, I thought it was fantastic, and again, this is a TV series.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, it's $1 billion
TV series.
So yeah, wow. But it does look phenomenal, and some of the sweep and the scale, the battle scene at the beginning, or the push towards that, I thought looked absolutely exceptional, and looked to me as good as the films.
Yeah.
I think it's very, very well done. And again, to bearing in mind, this is again made for TV. I'm not sure we could ask for anything more. I think probably, and again, I was talking to this same chap about this morning, because he's watched the first one and was like, yeah, it's okay, it's good. But he's watching it on a sorry, James, but he's watching it on a 55-inch TV with no sound bar, just using the TV speakers, and so it's not the same. And I did say that to him. It's not the same with when you've got a large screen, you've got Atmos surround, you've got a room where you can really sort of enjoy it.
Yeah,
it is a different experience. And I thought it was absolutely exceptional. I can't wait for the next one. I don't know. Are they every Friday or are they every Thursday?
Every Fridays. Okay. So we have those on Fridays, and then the competition we have with the Game of Thrones dropping on Sundays. That looks fantastic. House of the Dragon looks fantastic as well. And it's
full disclosure, I have not seen them yet because they are streaming here on a service that I don't have access to. So I'm going to wait for the Blu-ray, I think, or the 4K Blu-ray, fingers crossed. So I haven't seen them. But I've heard very good things about the story, but so I haven't seen it, but I hear good things, and so I'm looking forward to picking that up when it's out, but it'll probably be in the new year, I imagine.
Maybe for Christmas. Maybe for Christmas.
That would be very nice.
That would be nice.
That would be good.
Coming out, especially over there where it's maybe a limited release, but HBO does put their stuff out in 4K. We know that because the entire Game of Thrones series is out in 4K. So we do have that to look forward to. But I'll tell you, it looks and sounds fantastic on HBO. Everything we're saying about Amazon Prime right now and, Rings of Power, even the story, Steve, is very, I wouldn't say similar, but they're both using the past to bolster the current content, right? Or the past content. But they're using that, and it's great stories that make you they're pulling you into that world again and make you want to get back into Game of Thrones, right? And the name drops that they're doing in both series, right? It's just, it's fun worlds that, getting back to your buddy there, your chap, your mate, getting back to him, you need to get immersed into these worlds. And that's why we get so excited about this stuff, is because we have that full immersion, right?
Yes.
You're surrounded with sound. For all intents and purposes, your eyes are locked onto a giant screen. It feels like it's wrapping around you. There's nothing else that matters. You're in these worlds. And to sit down at a 55-inch on your couch, probably at an angle from 10 feet away, it's not the same. It's not quite. It's just not.
No, indeed. And he knows that, to be fair to him.
No, I know. I know.
And I wonder if a number of these reviews, which have been coming out over the weekend about Rings of Power in particular, are based on someone who, even reviewers, even professional reviewers, very often are watching this stuff when it's on TV anyway,
right,
on smaller screens at home without surround sound, and then reviewing it as an experience. I think there's been a bit of that, but that's what makes us so lucky and so fortunate, and we can show off.
Yeah.
Which is what we do.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's a great series so far, and I have to admit a bit of I did squeal like a girl a little bit when the again, spoiler alert. But when they go into the mountains, you've got the king of the mountain with the dwarves, and they open that box, and there's the light inside, and I squealed, "It's the Arkenstone!" And so that was cool. Again, having recently watched The Hobbit again, it was just I know exactly what that is,
right?
I know exactly what. So that was fun.
Yeah. It's tons of that stuff. It's just the entire time. It's like you're looking for the things, and you're wondering, what did I miss too? Because there's Easter eggs all the way through this thing, but yeah, it's home theater wise. I can't believe they've nailed it like this, because I had such doubt.
Well, but Amazon do. I mean, I know that they have had their hits and their misses, but they've done some decent stuff. I mean, the Tomorrow War was fantastic. Terminal List is pretty good on there as well, although perhaps not, demo
not to
material.
This quality. Yeah.
No, but the Tomorrow War is not far off. I mean, that's one with
The Expanse
base levels.
The Expanse was really good. It was funny because I'll mention it again with John later, but I said, Dan, he's the one that called it when I talked to him on Tuesday's podcast. He was saying it's the Amazon Prime stuff, the stuff that exclusive content for them that they produced has really done well. So I had never thought of it that way before. So when you think of it that way, now I am encouraged by stuff coming out, right? And it's like, another Amazon Prime series. I'll look into it. They're not all knocked out of the park like Apple TV, but I do have more hope than I do for like any movies that they have on their they stream other movies that's not theirs. They just have it, and it's not quality at all. But
and so here's your $1 billion question then. Do we get a physical release?
I don't think so. So. They don't. Their track record hasn't shown that they have them. Because I looked for The Expanse. As soon as it went to Amazon, it didn't show up. It doesn't show up on Kaleidoscape. So I actually own The Expanse on Kaleidoscape the first 4 seasons, and then the last 2 seasons when it went to Amazon, not available. So their track record has been to keep everything in-house, which I don't blame them. But
quite. The Boys, of course. The Boys season 1 and 2 is on Blu-ray, but that seems to be a Sony production. It seems to be a Sony. So I wonder if that was part of the contract. That seems to be the exception rather than the rule.
Yep.
And I think that I fear that's the situation. But then again, as long as we've always got access to the stream, then it doesn't really matter, does it? But it would be nice to have it.
Yeah, it would. It really would. And it's so. I mean, hey, if it shows up, we'll grab it. If it doesn't, it's.
We've always got the stream. We've always got the stream.
So speaking of which, did you happen to check out Peacemaker yet? On disc?
I haven't yet. Funny enough, I've got it there.
Okay.
It only arrived on Monday, and so between that, the Rings of Power, and I know you're not a gamer, but the Last of Us Part 1 on PlayStation 5 it came out last week, and I've been putting in more time than I should on that.
I saw on Twitter. I saw you playing that on Twitter. Yeah,
it's so good. It's so good. So I haven't had a chance. So that's going to be my homework for this week.
Okay,
so
cool.
Feedback on that for next week.
Good, because it's available on Kaleidoscape, and I was actually thinking of grabbing it if you really liked it.
Oh, nice. Okay, that is good. So it must be coming out on Blu-ray there as well. It must have a release
I don't
date.
know, because sometimes it doesn't. If there's a if there's a pressing, Kaleidoscape gets it usually, right? So like that's how we end up in this country with some 4K movies that aren't available out here, because they'll be available to you, but I'll have it the Kaleidoscape will have it. So it's really just like if there's a pressing in the world by the studio, keep in mind, by the studio, then then Kaleidoscape usually gets access to that.
Well, I noticed that it's released in Canada. They're releasing it in Canada the same on Blu-ray.
Oh, okay.
So it's come out there because I typed it into my whatever you want to call it, my movie app tracking thing, and it came up with a Canadian version of it, the same as this. So it's out there. So I wonder if that's what they've been given access to, or it's stranger that there's no disc release date then.
Nope. I only have, like, even on Blu-ray, I pop up Peacemaker, and the only thing that comes out was the Nicole Kidman, George
everybody's
Clooney one.
favorite George Clooney film.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we talked about that
But
before.
I will try it. That will be my homework
Yeah.
for this week. I will definitely have a look at it between now and then. Although, as I said, I've got a bit to get through.
I know. So have you checked out anything else that dropped it?
What else?
I forget from Twitter.
I watched. I did have a look at Top Gun Maverick to go back a little bit on the.
There we go. Now you're in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, so, now, however.
Uh-oh.
Now I did watch it, a little bit of it on the plane, as I said I would.
Yes, you did.
Which was funny for me.
Yeah.
And I was sort of chuckling to myself as I put it on. I only watched a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But when I got back, I thought I need to see this on the big screen. Let me give it a go. So now, on the streaming version, now I preface this with the following. I don't normally download digital versions. I don't normally, certainly not in the cinema room. I normally wait for the disc. Yep. So whereas I know you're good at, you buy them and compare them, and so I get that. But I don't
know if I call that good at it, but I just do it.
That's good. Well, you're good. You're pretty good. But so this is the first 4K movie download that I've ever bought.
Really? Okay.
So, yeah. So I normally just wait for the disc. So that being said, I put it on, and it looks great. It sounds good, but I had to really pump up the volume more than I normally would, and quite not to anywhere near your reference level, as it were, but still we're talking probably 10. Yep. 10 notches higher than I normally would.
That's what I recommended. Yep. You're right in that ballpark. Right. That's exactly what I recommended when it came out. It was like, it's still not, I mean, it's louder. It's 10 dB louder, but you don't have that dynamic part. You don't have that deep bass and the high, and it's just not the same. It's like, I mean, it's literally when you're compressing it, you're taking the tops off and the bottoms off, and you're getting everything in the middle. And you can simulate a little bit of that by bumping up the volume. And this one here, it was 10 dB that I found to get the same decibel level. So say I would play a normal dialogue scene or something and it would come in at around 80. My dB would, SPL meter would be like, okay, it'd be 78, like 82, blah, 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 back and forth. It just, you'd be going back and forth in there. So then what I do is I'll go into the stream and I'll put it on and I'll be like 60s, 68, 60. And then you bump it until I start to get into that same range on that same conversation. Boom. That's how I dial it in. Then you go and watch an action scene and you'll be like, yep, okay. It's not, I wouldn't even say it's pretty close, but it's louder. You get that bigger feel. You get some of your, where you're getting advantages, some of the quieter ambient scenes in the background are now being pumped up so that you can hear them a little better. And so you'll get a better sense of that full immersion, but you're not going to get that. And it's an amazing track at the beginning when that Top Gun shows up in the credits at the very beginning, and then they just put Top Gun on the screen. And Todd Anderson tweeted out the beginning, and you can feel it. It's just like when that comes, and there's like a double feel, like a do-do. It's just awesome, and it's absolutely like absent in the stream.
Good.
So when we get those, when you get the physical, you're gonna be like, kind of like going from Dog Soldiers to a good movie.
You see, I'm hoping that, because I put on the bit at the beginning when the Dark Star goes up, and of course he cuts in the I can't remember the phraseology, but he cuts off the normal, the scramjet engine or whatever he calls it.
He switches
and so
to
when he did that, I thought, right, here we go. This should be out the back of the cinema room. I should be, my hair, if I had it, should be right back, and I should be, stuck to my seat. I should feel the G-force.
Yeah.
And when it kicked in, I was like, okay. Right. It's not that it's not there, but it's just, you just don't feel it. You don't feel that punch. So that knocked me a little bit sideways. And I began to think, well, okay, this is a bit odd. But then, having said that, I then went to the Maverick, kind of doing the range thing, showing that he can do this mission. And even though the audio might not be quite what we want, the video is so good that you just don't care. I mean, I found myself almost moving in the seat with the, with
I was going to say that.
So good. So that was good, but yes, the audio is not, is just not the same.
No.
So yeah, that which means I can feel less guilty about buying the disc when it does come out, having bought the digital version as well.
That's why I recommended it. That's why I'm like, we're in this for fun, right? And me, one of the fun things is comparing this stuff and knowing the difference between the two mediums. Now, you can listen to the podcast, take my word for it, or here's a great opportunity to really get involved with this movie for 2 months and be like, pop it on. And then I'd be like, as we're getting closer again, stop, watch it a few more times. Then when you get that disc, that's how you go, wow, holy crap, what a difference. Because your eyes and ears are going to be so used to what you were getting before, and now go in and watch it. Even watch it, and like now what like you're saying is like you bumped it up by 10 dB. When you put the disc in, don't bump it up. You'll hurt yourself. Put it on your normal listening mode, and you'll be like, and this isn't bumped up 10 dB? You're going to be blown away. And that to me is fun. If you're that type of person that loves to like experience the different mediums, then and really get to know them, that's what's fun about it. And that's, if you do that, it's so much fun. And it's $20.
This is a film. Well, quite. And this is a film that I think I'm trying to, because I don't want to do it a disservice. But I think this is a film that invites that kind of engagement, that kind of fun. I think it's the more I watch it, and I've seen it more times, not nowhere near as many as I know you have, but I've seen it a number of times and bits of it. That I think this is a film that can be taken as pure fluff, pure kind of froth, as well as you can take it at different levels. And so I think this invites that kind of engagement. I think this film wants you to watch it in mono, stereo, watch it in DTS, watch it in Atmos, watch it in Neural X, watch it.
Yeah.
This just seems to be a movie made for having fun with in every single way that there can be. More so than just about any other film I think I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And as I say, the more I watch it, the more I begin to think that that's actually what was intended in the first place. And this is why it's $1 billion movie. This is why it's fifth on the all-time movie watch list, because people just can engage with it in lots of different ways. So yeah. Now tell me this: have you seen Joseph Kosinski, the director? Have you seen now what's it called over there? Is it Only the Brave over there? His previous movie about the firefighters. Have you seen that one yet?
No.
Is it Only the Brave? Oh, do you know what? Is it Only the Brave or Only the Strong? Oh, I'm going to have to look it up. I can't.
Only the Brave.
It'll be on Kaleidoscope, almost certainly. Let me just try.
2017, Only the Brave.
Yes. Yeah, firefighters film. It's got Josh Brolin in it.
Experience in IMAX. Yep.
That's the one. Now, if you haven't seen that, and it doesn't sound like you have, that is one to dig out and watch. I've got it in 4K. I imported it from Germany, and I keep meaning to mention it to you, and I've just suddenly remembered now. It's a true story about the Montana hotshot fire crew and what happened to them. And I think that's a film that you will really enjoy, and it's got quite an unexpected non-Hollywood ending. But it's very, there it is. That's the one. You got it. Absolutely. Yeah. It's got Miles Teller in it.
Thank you for purchasing. I just bought it.
Oh, good man. That's got Miles Teller in it as well. That was the first film he worked with Joseph Kosinski on.
Oh, wow.
And Josh Brolin. I think it's got Jennifer Connelly in it as well.
Josh Brolin, Miles Teller, Jeff Bridges, Jennifer Connelly, James Badge Dale, Taylor Kitsch, Andy McDowell, Jeff Stoltz. So
that's one to move towards the upper end of the watch list.
Definitely.
I think you'll get quite a bit out of that. It's quite moving at the end. It's quite, as I said, it's not what you might expect, but it's a very, very well done film. And it seems to me, when you watch it, having watched Maverick as many times as you have, you will see that Only the Brave was very clearly a prep movie for Maverick. It's shot in very similar ways. It's done in a very, with a quiet lens in terms of the drama. But I think you'll really, really enjoy it. And it's one that I know, again, a lot of people on Twitter have been saying, oh, I've seen it. I loved it. The HDR on that's really nice. The audio on it's really good as well. I think it might be DTS HD. I don't. Is it Atmos? I'm not sure.
I have it in Atmos. Well,
Atmos,
I will.
Do you know what? I think it.
I will. It's on 4K right now. It's not even available. I just looked it up. It's not available in the States.
Okay.
It says no release date.
No, right, there we go. It's called No Way Out in Europe. It's No Way Out. That's right. I've just looked it up. We've got Atmos. Yeah, it is in Atmos on the
4K
on
Atmos.
the disc.
Yep. And
so
for anybody watching the video feed, they can see how powerful the Kaleidoscape is. Because all of a sudden I hit it, and I had actually downloaded a movie this morning as well, so it was set to, as soon as I bought it, it started downloading it, and your screen just went all digitally. And I was like, oh no. So I just paused it. I paused the download from my phone, and now you come in clear again. So
it's like the Lawnmower Man, you know.
Yeah, really.
So they're taking over.
Oh.
But that's one to really what I think you'll like that. I've been meaning to mention it to you for ages, and and I've only had it for I only saw it about a month, 2 months or so ago.
Really?
And
it's from 2017.
17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it slipped by. But those that have seen it all say, what a film. It's so that, as I say, move that towards the upper end of the pile. Right from the beginning, there's a very nice scene right at the very start of flames of a forest fire and of a camera tracking through this fire, and a bear comes running at the screen, and you feel the power of it straight away. So it's but as I said, beware for the emotion. It's not kind of perhaps the Hollywood style film that you might expect. But very good.
Very good. Yeah.
You might even be aware of the story. I mean, I wasn't aware of it. But it's a famous story, apparently. We're talking about, is it 2014 or maybe
2013? 2013.
So,
it says it in this. Yeah. Drama based on the elite crew of men who battled a wildfire in Prescott, Arizona in June 2013 that claimed the lives of 19 of their members. So exactly.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. It's in the synopsis. So it's true story. You're gonna know the story going in, and Oh, sounds awesome.
It's well worth watching.
That might be why it didn't get a lot of talk, is movies like that, they don't have, like you said, they don't have that Hollywood ending. They don't have this, and people like, it's hard to talk about.
Titanic?
There's been enough time. There's been a little more time.
Yeah, that's true.
But even that, I still had a hard time with that. It's still I remember my grandfather telling me about Titanic. He wasn't on it or anything, but even as a little kid, my grandfather telling me all about when that happened and stuff, and knowing the world knew about it. And and then seeing the movie, you're just like, they did a great job reenacting that, and you're just,
I really like Titanic. The only thing that undoes it for me is at the end where they're sailing into the New York harbor, and you've got the Statue of Liberty and the torches lit up, which only happened in 1986. So that was the only thing that, and I knew that as I watched it for the first time. Right. I'm like, oh, okay, that's
all right. Well, apparently that slid by the wayside compared to can you fit on the door?
Yeah, well, quite yes. Good old Rose.
I heard that comes up all the time, right? And it's like, how about this? Take turns. Like, you're like, all right, get on, warm up, get back in. Get on, warm up, get back in. I mean, come on,
Yeah. Just would be much fairer.
Yeah.
But there we go.
Yeah. Oh well.
Actually talking about this friend of mine, James, earlier, just his thing with what he dislikes about Titanic more than anything is he says that his issue with it is that Rose is mourning Jack for her entire, apparently 80 odd years later, because she's talking about how much this is all her remembering what happened, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now since then she's been married, she's had a daughter, and never mentions the husband at all.
No.
So apparently doesn't care about the husband, doesn't care about the daughter. She's mourning the guy she spent one night with 80 years ago. So that's what my friend has got real issues with that.
Steve, we all know we're guys. The less time you spend with us, the better we are. You got less time to screw up. She spent one night with the guy. He's like the knight in shining armor. He never had a time to tell her his true self of being a guy. Spent a lifetime with the other guy, and she's like, woof, I'm done with him. Let's get back to Jack.
Yeah, that's it. But that's the problem that he's got with it, and he's just like, I can't get over that. I just think that's really rude. And he just can't get his head around it at all. So for that reason, he doesn't like the film. But as a movie, it's great.
Well, to be fair, she did slide him off the door. So after only
Didn't
one
love
night.
him that much.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. My wife's wanted to kick me off the door a few times.
Those are all those transatlantic cruises. You know, these things happen.
Gotta be careful.
Oh man. But yeah. So yeah. So in terms of that, I think that's it. We've got in terms of releases. By the way, just so you know, Hunter Killer.
Oh yeah. There you go. I saw you got 18 strong as well, right? There you go.
12 strong, look at that.
12 strong. I always call it 18. Yeah, 12 strong.
There were 6 extras. And that was the film I was telling you about last week, The Outfit.
The Outfit. I saw that. I saw that pop up. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's people that have seen it are telling me it's really, really good. And it's a blind buy, so I don't know yet, but I'm looking forward to trying it out.
Let me know.
So we'll do that. And the new releases on Monday here, I think it's the same there. We've got Fatal Attraction coming out on Monday.
Yep.
Which will be interesting. Now, do you know, does it have the alternate ending, the original ending, do you know?
I have no idea. I have no idea what it's offering. I
hope so.
I did just see the let's see. I was actually just looking at we went through on this podcast already what the releases are, but it didn't say I didn't actually see what it said for it's let me click on it here.
I hope it has, because that's another one where the original ending is so disturbing. Really, it would be nice if it had the choice, but I don't know if it does.
No, I have no idea what that one has. Okay, well, we will see. The Fatal Attraction. Yep. Nope.
Oh, okay. But that's it. So my homework for this week is The Peacemaker, to at least have had a good look at it, if not having watched it all. And then I will try to get around to having a look at some of the other ones there. But yeah, if you get a chance, I know you've got a busy schedule, but if you get a chance to watch Only the Brave or Only the Strong, then I'd really be curious to see what you make of that. Yeah. And if it's online, John might be able to stream that as well. It's bound to be available to stream somewhere. And it'd be interesting. Did he watch Dog Soldiers?
No, he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. And he's not buying a lot of discs. He's trying to save for a Kaleidoscape, but he's like, but yeah. So yeah, no, he has not seen it.
Oh, okay. Oh, fair enough. But okay, well, yeah. So if you get a chance, do Only the Brave, and then let me know what you think of it. I'll be really curious to see.
I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to the home theater aspect of it, anyways. But yeah. I'll check that out. Hopefully, I'll be able to take that in before we talk again. That'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you think. As I said, while you're watching it, just think this is a prep film for Maverick. Because if that came out in 2017, if you think Maverick was shot in 1819, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Then he must have finished one and gone straight on to the other. Yeah. And so I think when you know that and you watch then Only the Brave or No Way Out as it's called here, you can see it. I think you can see that this is what he was, where the progression is. So it's as well as it being a good movie, it's also just interesting to kind of watch it with that lens, looking back.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm interested in that. Now let's see, what does it have for? Oh, it's in a 240 aspect ratio. So it's not a variable aspect ratio that gets people all hot and bothered.
See, I still quite like it, but I know that projector owners,
I like it too.
It can be a pain.
Yep. It's not about the projector, it's about the screen.
No. Yeah, well, quite. Yeah. You've got your 69 screen, it's
you're good.
Yeah, that's the
you're
one.
good.
But all right. But all right. So how long was that? How long have we done now?
just a mid, just 40 minutes over our 10-minute limit. Do the math.
Oh well. Yeah.
Hey,
here we go. We'll work
Steve, as long as we're having fun, right?
Oh, always.
Always.
All
right, Steve. Great. We'll be back next week, and I can't wait. Can't wait to see. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to check out this movie. So it'll be fun. So thanks, Steve. Talk to you again soon, buddy.
Will do. Thanks, buddy. Bye-bye.
And we're back.
Yes, we are. Wow. I got a good stretch in. I didn't get any stretch in. I was working the whole time.
I know.
All
I
right.
saw.
Yeah, you saw. I know. Thank you, Steve, as always. That was great. Great that he's back home, safe and sound, in the comfy confines of Cinema George.
That's right. Watching 12 Strong and whatever else he got there on his discs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had a little conversation about dog soldiers.
Yeah. Can't wait to hear it.
Oh, boy. Okie dokie. All right. John, you ready to get to this week's, Tuesday's 4K releases, upcoming 4K releases. Here they come. And there they are. First up today, coming out on Tuesday, Platoon in 4K from 1986.
Well, that'd be a fun one.
Yeah, Shout Select. Shout Factory's coming out with that. Shout Select. I think I'm going to be picking that one up. I remember seeing that in the theater. Milford.
Me too.
The Milford Theater,
Yeah.
I saw that in. Yeah. Oof. That was insane. Especially, I think that was the first movie that when I came out of there, I was like, my dad was in Vietnam.
Right.
Like, that's not cool. Like, because
Right.
my dad was always like, told me like fun stories.
Yeah.
You know, and he never told me the bad stuff. And he was always like, oh, it was all. I say they're fun stories, but if I couldn't even tell you some of them here, but he would put a fun spin on them. And
Right.
you're just, to a little kid, right? And what was it, 85, he took me to see Rambo First Blood Part 2. And he was like, you know, he loved it. I'm like, I remember asking him, like, what'd you think on the way to the car afterwards? He's like, needed more action. But then it's like, you know, I'm 16 years old in 86. You see Platoon and you're like, it like dawns on you like, oh, that was bad.
Yeah, that happened.
Huh. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that, Dad.
Yeah.
All right. Next up from 1980, The Fog in 4K. Also dropping on Tuesday. Another one.
Is that the original? Is that the John Carpenter?
John Carpenter's
Yeah.
The Fog, yeah.
Because I know it's been remade a few times.
Yeah. No, yeah. That might be another one I might pick up maybe in October. I'll pick that up for Halloween or something. See if that's available. Maybe it'll be available in the Kaleidoscape. Next up from 1985, Real Genius.
Oh, Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer, yeah, Real Genius. Somebody was just mentioning this to me the other day. Might have been with my conversation with Dan, or I don't know. Somebody was talking about seeing Val Kilmer and Real Genius. I think it was Dan and I were talking about it. And, but yeah, this one, him and Top Secret was actually, I think, before this.
Top Secret, I think, was his first one.
Yeah. Then this came out. And then, I was telling him a story about, him being in Top Gun and somebody telling me, that I looked like Val Kilmer, and I didn't know who Val Kilmer was. And that was in 87, I think, in the fall of 87. And I was like, oh, who's Val Kilmer? And they're like, Iceman. Oh, all right. Now I know who that is, but he wasn't that big of a name.
Right.
He became bigger. I would say that was a big one for him. And then I think what I was saying to Dan is I think The Doors too. That was like his movie, and he was huge in that. And awesome in it too. Let's see. Also, Friday the 13th, 4K, 1980, from 1980. So that's a big one. And then we have Monty Python's The Meaning of Life in 4K.
Awesome.
Are you a big Monty Python person?
I am.
Are you really? I wasn't.
I love the Holy Grail. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you. I think you and Christian used to quote it all the time.
Yeah, probably.
I wasn't.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
My wife hates it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but all the kids like it. So we would like torture her.
A lot of their stuff doesn't play well nowadays.
It might not. I haven't seen it in quite a while, but
yeah.
So I don't know. But what would you say? Meaning of Life? Is that what you just said?
That's The Meaning of Life.
That's another good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too. So.
I haven't seen. Those were on like HBO and stuff. And
I haven't seen them
in
in
the 80s. Yeah.
Years.
Yep.
But I loved them both.
Well, there you go, John. It's coming
all
out
of
in
them.
4K on Tuesday.
Awesome.
Yep. Another big one from the 80s, 1987's Fatal Attraction.
Huh.
4K. Glenn Close, Michael Douglas. Uh-huh.
Another fun movie.
Oh, yeah. Where's the bunny?
Yeah.
What happened?
It's a really fun one.
And
I won't be ignored, Dan.
why have we all heard that personally
I
in
need
our
to
lives
see
too?
Sharon Stone in Glorious 4K.
Oh,
that's a different
available.
movie.
That's
that's
already out.
That's a different movie.
Basic Instinct. I know.
Yeah, I
Poor
don't know why
Michael
I got
Douglas
those confused
just-
for a second.
Michael Douglas just can't find a stable woman.
I know, but I need to see that in 4K, 123 inches.
I'm gonna leave that one right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Fatal Attraction. And Tuesday, big day. I'll have more on this when we get to home theater, real experiences. Elvis from Austin Butler, Tom Hanks, the Baz Luhrmann film. I'll have more on that as well.
Which dropped on HBO Max this week.
That's what I'm going to be talking about. I took it in. Yeah. This is another fun one. If you have HBO Max, I'll talk about it when we get there. But I highly recommend the disc on Tuesday.
Right.
HDR is fantastic. I mean, just Vegas. Great contrast, great soundtrack, great sound. Yeah, and we'll talk more about that when we get to real HD experiences. So yeah, Elvis on Tuesday. Then we have where did that go? Where did it go? Oh, caca. Well, Lightyear also comes out, but for some reason I don't have the image for it. Lightyear comes out on 4K. I'll have more on that as well. Whoops. And we have Drive from 1997. I've never seen this movie. Didn't even hear of it. Never heard of it.
Right.
A lot of people
familiar, but I don't know if I've seen it.
But yeah, from 1997, it's coming out 4K on Tuesday. So you can check that out. And the other one that didn't show up for some reason. Oh, the Addams Family is coming out with a new, from 1991. It's coming out with a new Steelbook. But that's already out. So, all right. That will do it for this week's 4K new releases on Tuesday. And that should take us right to real home theater experiences, John. And let's get this projector fired up here. Whew. All right, we're coming. We'll save, as we said earlier, we'll save Rings of Power for the end.
Okay.
So let's see. Why don't I go? Let me go with Lightyear. Let's start there, and we'll work our way to the positive.
Oh, okay. Really?
What's that?
Really? Okay.
I was a little disappointed. I
haven't seen it, so I don't.
Yeah, it was good. But with the Pixar movie, especially you go back to the Toy Stories and stuff, try to walk out of a Pixar Toy Story, any kind of movie, without something, getting goosebumps, maybe a little bit misty-eyed or something, pulling at the heartstrings, right? I mean, it's your toys from when you were a kid. Look at John's getting all worked up right now.
I know, I'm getting all misty-eyed now.
Getting all misty-eyed right now. This one, very little for me in that capacity. But even the home theater, I don't know if it's because I took in Elvis, we're talking Rings of Power. We have so much great stuff. And this one here, I didn't feel like it had the sound it wasn't bad, but it wasn't Maverick. I've taken in a lot of Maverick. All right. And before that was Sonic 2, which was dynamic through the roof. Right. This was just nice. And that sometimes when we've been on a roll like this, sometimes nice just doesn't cut it for you. And I think that's where I felt, So, but yeah. So unfortunately, that was that one.
Okay.
But maybe we want to stay on that same track, and we'll go with your
same
first
level
one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so I
saw
picked
your
up the
notes.
challenge from last episode, and
Yeah.
I watched Samaritan
Yeah.
on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
This was 4K, but not Atmos.
Yeah.
Just 5.1. I don't know. The movie itself, I kind of agree with our commenter from last week. It wasn't great.
Yeah.
Lydia liked it more than I did. She actually, I think she liked it. I thought it
Oh.
was pretty. Again, it's Sylvester Stallone, so you almost put his name synonymous with like bad acting. But I thought the acting was horrible in this. Like I thought
Right.
everybody did a really bad job. The kid that was in it is on Euphoria. He
Yep.
plays the kid with
Kid.
the younger drug dealer kid there. His acting was terrible. The mom, like the acting in this was really bad, and the movie wasn't great. I figured out. I don't want to spoil anything for those that still want to watch it. I figured out the big twist about 30 minutes into the movie. I knew
Yeah.
who he was. So that's the movie. And then as far as the home theater, like it looked fine. Like I thought it looked good.
Yeah.
They did a pretty good job. There was some scenes with the fires and things like that looked really good. But the audio, yeah, like you were saying with Lightyear, there was nothing special about it.
Right.
Like it just was very fine, I guess. Now again,
Yeah.
upmixed to Neural X, so
Yeah.
I mean, I had that going for it. Up until the last battle, though, like I thought the final 20 minutes or so of the movie was pretty dynamic. Like I actually thought it sounded pretty good. There was lots of things, like they were in a fire, so there's fire crackling off and things happening all over your screen, or all over all through your speakers.
Mhm.
And so I thought the end was pretty good, but overall it wasn't a great movie, and it wasn't really a great theater experience in my opinion. So
Can't wait to see it.
I was gonna say you
I
were
haven't
nodding
seen
like you had seen it.
No,
but
I hadn't.
wasn't
I just
sure.
started it,
Okay.
and then, like I said, I hadn't got back to it this week.
Okay.
I will still take it in regardless, and
Right.
give you my 2 cents on it maybe next week. I meant to get it in. I just, I kept looking at my thing, and I mean, you see what I did watch this week, and I'm like,
Right.
I just
Yeah, you get a
didn't
lot.
get to it.
You get a lot here this week.
And I went away for our anniversary, so
I know, I saw
was
that.
Like, yeah, I was like, okay, but
I have
yeah.
very now again. I watched other things
Oh, I know. Yeah,
this week, but just nothing,
yeah.
home theater wise. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't have that much on here for this week.
All right, let's tune things up a little bit here. Still kind of in the same direction, but maybe in the positive for Tuesday, especially. Let's talk about Elvis on HBO.
Okay.
So I hadn't seen Elvis on the Kaleidoscope in probably a couple of weeks. Been, as I said, very Maverick Central here.
Right.
And so what I did is I saw that it dropped on HBO, and I put it on. And I got sucked into it, of course. It's a great movie if you haven't.
It's a good movie.
I love the movie. And as I'm watching it on HBO Max, I'm thinking, wow, this is playing really well. I'm like, I was like, because it's a dynamic movie anyways. It's got good
Right.
sound, and it's got very bright images. So any kind of vibrancy and stuff should be mitigated. Even though you're streaming, it should still come through as pretty vibrant. And I mean, there's a lot of contrast there. So it was pretty good. And I was like, wow, this is pretty good. And this is one of those things where when you watch something and you haven't seen it back to back, and you're like,
Right.
yeah, see, I don't really see the difference. If you came over my house and you saw Elvis, you'd be like, yeah, it looks like just at my house. Oh my God. I
And you
switched
went
to
back
the
to
Kaleidoscope. I was like, wow. First off, it is way more dynamic sound-wise. I can't wait for people. This is another one where if you already have HBO Max, knock yourself out. You're going to have a blast with this.
Right.
And just at the 16-minute mark, it's the opening scene. It's when he first comes out. He's in a pink suit, right? And it's the first time that he's going to play. The girls start screaming and all that. It's very early, obviously, 16 minutes into the movie. But he says, and I put in my notes, pink suit and pink Cadillac. And he gets to the part where he yells, he says in the song, he says pink Cadillac, and the p in pink Cadillac on the disc, on the Kaleidoscape is so much better. You don't, when he says it on HBO Max, it's pink Cadillac. When he says it on, it's just pink Cadillac, right? When he says it on the Kaleidoscape, it's pink Cadillac. You get the boom, and you're like, oh, man. And that's just that one instant. Never mind the drum beat, the bass instrument, not the drums bass, but the bass instrument, you can hear so much better on the Kaleidoscape. It's so much more dynamic. It's a fun experience on HBO Max. It's a completely different experience when you get this disc. Now, the pink suit, it was like a pale pink on HBO Max. When you see it on the disc, when you get this disc and you put it in, you're going to be like, oh my God, that's what it's supposed to look like? It's like, I mean, it is just like, bah, the vibrancy is just out there. It is so nice. It is so good. It's just another example of like streaming physical media. It's just not, it doesn't compare when you put it up against each other like that. And that was just that was a fun scene. But on a Saturday night, you're sitting there, you don't have it yet, like we're doing with Maverick right now. Experience it, have fun with it. But then really just, it just helps you appreciate how good physical media can be. And it's so good. I had a lot of fun with it. And like I said, I just got sucked into the movie. You know, I got Shawshanked, and I was like, oh, okay. Right. And I got Shawshanked on another one I'll tell you about
a couple times
bit.
this week. Yeah, because you texted me that earlier.
Yeah.
About another movie.
Yeah. But Elvis, I literally was thinking for the show. I just wanted to do a couple scenes, but then I was like, oh, here we go. Let's knock ourselves out. So, but all right. Let's see. What else I like this other one you hear from Netflix is pretty cool. What's that?
Yeah, Devil in Ohio, which is a new show that dropped on Friday. Stars Emily Deschanel, and then a bunch of people you'll recognize, but I don't know any of their names. But you'd be like, oh, I saw that guy in this.
Yeah.
But Emily Deschanel, this is what's a mystery, you know, kind of like cult, child abuse, like runaway kid kind of thing. So again, it's not your action show or whatever, but more of a drama. But it is Netflix. It is Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, and again, really, really good. Not quite, you know, again, not up to the level of like Stranger Things,
right?
But still really good. I'm only 6 episodes in. I think there's 9 altogether, so I'm not finished with it. But it's been pretty engaging as far as the show goes. Couple of scenes that really stood out to me, though. There's a scene at the beginning of episode 4 where they're walking through a cornfield, and it's just kind of like the wind whipping through the corn. You can hear it all around.
Awesome.
Things just kind of flying through, you know, like pebbles and things flying around. It was a really good scene. And then there's a really cool scene in episode 6. I didn't get a timestamp. It's kind of about halfway through, but they're just standing in the, you know, if you picture walking in a front door, there's a set of stairs that go up to the second floor, and then the parents are downstairs. So the girl comes in late, you know, and the parents are like, well, where were you and whatever. And as they're talking, she's walking up the stairs. And once you get halfway up the stairs, the half wall cuts off, so you can't see her anymore.
Right.
But you can still hear her. And it's like, as she's walking up the stairs, her voice is, you know, traveling from your front stage kind of over to your surrounds. And then when she goes up off the screen, it's like in your back left overhead speaker.
Oh, wow.
You can still hear her talking. And I thought that was really cool.
That's awesome.
Really good scene. And good use of all the speakers there. So those 2 scenes stood out. But it's a really good show, and there's some good stuff throughout with the Atmos. But those 2 things
cool
kind of stood out for me.
Cool. All right. We actually have one from, let me pull it up here. We have one from Graham Cole as well at GramboX on Twitter. You want to read that one while I pull up the art?
Sure. So at Brightside HT, good scene here, great bass. Netflix Sandman Season 1, Episode 3. from the beginning to the 3-minute 22-second mark. The scene won't be much of a spoiler, so don't be afraid to jump to it. Enjoy.
You probably don't remember
I don't know
this.
what that is.
watched
No, I
it.
didn't.
Okay.
I didn't do the scene, so I
You
don't
remember
which one it
when
is.
Constantine came in? The episode. This is the episode with Constantine. So it's at the very beginning, and at the 3:22 mark, she wakes up in the back of the car. So she had been dreaming before that, and she's going down the hallway. But the bass that they use throughout this scene from the beginning, it's subtle, but it's rumbly. But then there's a bunch of stuff going on too. When she gets to the door and she has to open the door, and the way that it really is great bass. And it's not like an explosion, just an explosion type thing. It's like throughout the entire 3 minutes and 22 seconds, there's stuff going on. And I want to say at one time it felt like bass was under me down one side, but then it shifted as the camera shifted. It was really, really good. And he's right. It's not like something that you're going to be like, oh, that was a great, like, punch in the chest or something, big explosion. But it was how they utilized the bass in the room to set the mood of the scene, too. Because some of it was like a relatively quiet scene, but you still had a rumble going on. So it was really cool. Really cool. Good call on that, Graham.
I'll have to go back and watch. I didn't see that till just before we started. So
yeah, and like Graham said, it's like even if you haven't seen the show, you just go to season 1, episode 3, and just watch this and put it up to reference level. I don't even think you're going to be blowing yourself out of your house at reference level, because there are some nuances to this that are really nice, but you'll get a good feel, especially if a good bass setup, good subwoofer setup.
Right.
Really, really cool. All right. Let's see. Which you choose. Which one do you want me to do next? Because I'm the one with the ones next here. So I already did Elvis.
Yeah, well, you've got Mission Impossible.
Rogue Nation. You want me to do that one?
Yeah, go ahead and do that one.
All right. Apparently, I am just going down the Mission Impossible rabbit hole now.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm going backwards. So I've already bought the one that was before this, which came before this one. Let me see. I just bought it. My movies, I'll tell you. So,
it was like MI 1, 2, and 3, and then they started getting names after that.
Yeah, 4 was Ghost Protocol. So I just purchased that. I almost watched it before the show, but I was like, no, I got to pace myself here, Deej. Pace yourself.
Right.
But yes, so this is in, at first, I watched the entire thing. I thought it was in Atmos, and it wasn't. I was like, no. On
DTS 5.1. Yeah.
DTS 5.1. But I had written Atmos the first time because I was like 3/4 of the way through the movie, and I just happened to flip down. It is fantastic. It sounded
I would say you must have thought it. Yeah, you must. It must have sounded like Atmos.
Yeah, it was the bass in this was just as punchy as what I was talking about in Fallout. It is awesome. The scene when he's underwater. You remember the scene in the movie when he's got to change out the computer thing?
Yeah.
And but it sounds like you're underwater, but the heartbeat, because that's what he's going by, because he's got to hold his breath. You can feel it in your room. It's boom, boom. And you're hearing all the swirling of the water going around, but it's not super loud. But everything's muted a little bit because you're underwater, and that's what things sound like underwater. But you still get that bass. You still get the boom, boom, and it's going along with his monitor, like it's slowing down. It's awesome. It's just an awesome. And then the BMW chase scene where he's driving the BMW, and I love who's the guy with? Is that Simon Pegg? What's his name in that movie? His sidekick guy. That's in.
I think it was Simon.
Was it Simon Pegg?
I think it was Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
This might be the one. I don't know if I remember, because remember I was telling you last week that I didn't see
maybe
all
you
of
didn't
them.
see this one?
This might be the one I didn't see, because I saw the one with Henry Cavill for sure. So
yeah,
it might have been this one that I didn't, or maybe it was Ghost Protocol, but there was 1 or 2 of them that I missed.
Yeah.
So
it's so good. And then, like I said, he's chasing the BMW chase. And I call it the BMW chase scene because he's in the BMW, but then they catch a certain person, then he has to jump onto a bike, and then but the pans you get, and it is just an awesome. This is another one. Like, I wish I had more timestamps for people, But
Right.
I'm going to claim I was having so much fun. I didn't want to timestamp it. I was just like, this
Right, I
is
just watching it.
awesome. It was so awesome. And they're not, these Mission Impossibles aren't exactly like, reference 4K material, HDR
Right.
material. They're nice. They're really good. But it's not like I said, a Maverick or even a Sonic or even Lord of the Rings, which I've been doing a little bit. We'll get to that. It's good. It's nice. But where these really shine is the sound. And it's just phenomenal. And you just have such a great time with it. And I did.
Awesome.
So, next up, which would you like to hear about?
Well, you only have one left. Oh no, you have two left.
Well, I have Iron Man.
Yeah,
Let's
so I get to do Iron Man 2 then, I guess.
Iron Man 2. So we were in the house and it was on cable or regular my stream on Fubo, right? You're flipping it, and I was sitting there hanging out with Jen and the dogs, and we start watching Iron Man. She was watching it, and then she dozes off. I was like,
So you have to get up and go watch it.
I'm like, move the dog over. I got a dog at my feet, a dog in my lap, and she's asleep. And I was like, all right. I grabbed my phone, power up the theater. Okay, should be all warmed up by now. Go downstairs, pull up Iron Man 2, and I don't fast forward to the part I was just at. I start all over because I got to take it all in.
Right.
And I know this is low on people's MCUs and stuff, but it's just a blast. And it really was and it really looked really good too. That suit, I love all the Iron Man movies, and especially since I got the Lumigen and the backdrops, the night scenes, when you go inside his helmet and you're seeing all the stuff. I mean, just everything the HDR just looks so good. It's so much fun. The fight that he has with Rhodey at his birthday party, and every time they fire the whatever those are, phasers or whatever, from his hands, and it's like, boom. I mean, you get a punch. I mean, it's so good.
Punch, yeah.
Yeah, it's such a fun movie to go all the way through, and then you forget, especially for me, especially as you get towards the end, you get more Nick Fury. You get a lot. This is her first movie. Scarlett Johansson's first MCU appearance was this movie.
Right.
And seeing her battle in that, and the 4K HDR when she's in that hallway, it looks
Pretty
like
good,
green. Huh? No, it looks like green. She looks fantastic. She looks fantastic, but it almost looks like green screen. Yeah, I was like, it almost looked like, oh wow, okay, too good. Right. But she looks fantastic. And then you have what's his name? They're fighting the one guy at the end, Happy. Yeah. I got him. Then he looks, and the whole hall's covered with people. Their final battle at the end, which I thought was kind of reminiscent. It actually came out before it, but remember when they have the fight in Avengers where Loki's looking down from the mountaintop, and Thor and Iron Man are fighting, and then Captain America shows up, that fight?
Yeah.
This was kind of like that, kind of like the prelude to that, where you had War Machine, Iron Man, and then Mickey Rourke's Iron Man suit. They drop into that kind of like indoor jungle area, and they have their little bit. It looked awesome. And I hadn't seen this movie since I had the Lumigen, so getting full advantage of that HDR, it looked awesome. Just so much fun. So cool. That's the true definition of like right there of right side home theater. It's like Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2, yeah.
I'm like, they're all fun. We're just trying to have fun, people.
They're fun. They are fun.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're experiencing all these movies again for the first time in most cases, because you have the Lumigen, you have your Marantz, you have all these all these changes. So
Yep. Oh, speaking of which, we didn't even talk about that in Tweeks. Mike Schramm bought a new center channel from SVS.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. And he's like, let me pull it up. I should have talked about that in Tweeks. So he wrote me, he DM'd me. He's like, is it possible that the Klipsch Center was putting out such, quote, dirty sound that the clean sound coming from the SVS allows me to hear my surrounds and Atmos better? And he's getting, he can hear his surrounds better. Everything, like his room feels more engaged now. And I just said very quick, I was like, very possible. Because when you have a more neutral, like clips have those horn tweeters, so they're putting out a bright sound that could be bouncing around his room. And when that's you're competing with that sound for all the other sounds that you're trying to get. And now you're getting a smoother, I wouldn't say, I mean, clips not bad, but it's a different type of sound. And it's like, I think where you're getting a more neutral, cleaner, I hate using the word dirty and clean because it's not really fair to the speaker because it's a different type of speaker. But yeah, the SVS speaker just kind of like, no, sorry, but blew it away.
Yeah, I mean, I have clips in, again, just like everything else, there's people that love them and then there's a lot of people that really hate them.
Right.
I don't have anything to compare them to right now. They sound fine in my room, but it's very possible I would change something out and realize that.
Well, you have all clips, right?
Yes, the whole system.
Yeah, the whole system's clips. You should be. I mean,
except for my Atmos speakers, which are Yamaha.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, that doesn't matter.
That's fine.
But my entire setup is clips.
I'll bet you.
And again, except for the subwoofers, again, which are SVS. But
yeah, I'll bet you if you went to SVS, you would notice a difference. Whether you liked that difference or not would be a different story. But you would know. I think you would notice a difference because it's a different type of sound, right? It's a different type of speaker altogether. So there we go. Little bit of tweaking. Little tweaking there.
A couple of tweakers.
All right. So we did Iron Man and we did so let's get to that was it. So let's get to the last ones there. We got
you have House of the Dragon again on here. I know we talked about it last week, but
yeah, we talk about it every week. But yeah, that kind of leading into well, let me get my weekly Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. I watched that. I did. I literally did.
Did you watch it again?
Yes, I did. I was a bunch of the guys on Twitter were saying just watched it again. I think Dan was one of them who was on with me on Tuesday. He's like, just watched it for the fourth time, and I want to say I had just finished Rogue Nation, and I was like, you know what? Let me check that out.
I'm already cruising. So
and I put it on and. It is. And you get suckered in. Now this time I kind of jumped a little bit. Like I skipped over some of the the talking, just to get to those scenes, but there's so many scenes. It's like, and some of the conversations are so good that you're just like, all right.
Right.
It is. It's, watch that one again. So, but I can't wait for people to see this disc, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
looking forward to it myself now.
Yeah.
Have to wait till November.
So, all right, let's get to this week's featured presentation, which it's been a big conversation right now. Rings of Power, Amazon Prime, 4K with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. And John, first impressions, what'd you think? We got 2 episodes.
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
This is, again, one of those, like you mentioned with whatever you mentioned it a minute ago. I didn't do any timestamp. I just watched this. I just wanted to watch it. I wanted to be immersed in it. I wasn't really looking at my phone trying to snap pictures or do anything like that. I thought it is right up there with Tomorrow War. Like Amazon Prime gets bashed for the quality of their stuff.
Yeah.
This was really, really good.
Yeah.
Well,
Dan said that on Tuesday. Dan said that in Tuesday's podcast. He made a great point that I hadn't thought of where he said, he's like, Amazon, like we were worried about this. A lot of people were. But you and I, we mentioned it many times. Like Amazon is like pretty much dead last, right? We'd said that. But then Dan had a great point. He's like, their Amazon Prime originals are spot on. Yeah. They're Apple TV quality. Apple TV Plus quality. Only if it's Amazon Prime exclusive, right? Like they made it.
They had Jack
for
Reacher, which I thought was good, but I didn't think it was as good as this.
Since then, no. That one
Wheel of Time was also good, but wasn't as good as
this. Right.
Like I said, Tomorrow War. Even Reacher I thought was good, but I didn't think Reacher was
right. The Expanse was good.
Yeah. The Expanse was really good. But I noticed that, not to cut you off, but
No.
it seems like maybe I'm just getting used to it more, but I feel like I've had maybe a bit of a drop in, like I might need to recalibrate my system, and I don't know why it would drop, but
What do you mean?
the stuff I'm listening to at reference level now doesn't seem as loud as it used to seem. Like even with the streaming stuff, like
Yeah.
I'm watching everything now at full reference level, where I used to be watching it at like -10 because my my wife didn't. It was too loud. Maybe we're just adjusting to it, but I feel like I'm watching everything at reference level, but yet this felt louder than anything else that I'm watching.
Right.
Even louder than Netflix, louder than anything else.
Yeah.
And I know loud doesn't necessarily equate to quality,
No.
but at reference level, this was bigger than anything else that I'm watching right now.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've been feeling lately that maybe I've just acclimated to it. You know what I mean? But it just used to feel like everything felt louder at reference level than it does now.
When was the last time you watched a disc?
Well, the last disc I watched at full reference level was Dune. Remember? And I couldn't do it. Like it was so loud that I had to turn it down.
That's what I'm saying. So, I would throw that disc in when we're done.
I don't think it's I don't necessally think it's my.
I think
my
it's because you're
system.
doing all streaming, and that's just what we're getting with streaming.
Because
and you've become used to that. Yeah.
Like I was saying, like things don't just change. Like the levels didn't just change on their own.
No.
So I think I've just acclimated to the sound of reference level streaming.
Right.
And I'm not even going to mess with anything at all now, because in a few days I'm going to be putting in my amplifier anyway. So
before you put in the amplifier, I would throw the Dune disc in and just jump to that scene just for your own edification. So you're like, oh, look at it's streaming, and you'd be surprised. Like I said with Elvis, you think like, wow, this sounds great, and then you throw and you're like, oh my God, it's not even close, right? I had an analogy that I came up with this week thinking about this, driving along. And it's like if you're used to driving 75 miles an hour down the road, and then all of a sudden somebody punches it and gets you to 85, you feel that difference. But once you're cruising along at 85, you just like, if you woke up, right? And you didn't know how fast you were going, you'd just be like, oh, this is okay. Right. But if you slow down now to 75, you'd be like, everything's going by a lot slower, right? You have to get used to something, and then when you go back to something else, that's when you see the difference. It's, and it really is. It's like when you do streaming, and then you throw in a disc, oh, there's the quality I'm looking for. And just like if you do disc, and then all of a sudden you throw something on streaming, you're like, ooh. Yeah. It's like, oh, where'd the punch go? What happened? And you're 100% right. Rings of Power has really nice sound. For a streaming, it is really good. And like there is some nice punch there that, it really kind of alleviates. I'm looking for. I kept checking. I'm like, wait a minute. They dropped 2. They drop on Fridays, right? It hasn't been a Friday since, right? I've checked twice.
Looking for another. And I thought I could have sworn they were dropping 3. I said that last week, but it was only 2, which I actually like. Like, I would hate if they dropped 3, because then there's only like 5 left. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like I like to spread it out a little bit more, but yeah, I thought it looked. Here's the thing too. Again, I thought it looked really, really good. I was really impressed with it. Yeah. And then I saw the screenshot you put up from your Lumagen projector and all that stuff, and I'm like, well, mine doesn't look that good.
Oh yeah.
I was like disappointed in how mine looked.
Oh.
Because I just don't get that level of detail that you get with yours. But I
thought remember the image I put up.
It was that scene when her Galadriel's brother was in one of the battles. In the golden armor and all that stuff, and it looked really good. Even the picture you put up looked awesome, and I was like, man, mine doesn't look that good.
Oh, and I just that's Oh, and all the armor and everything. Yep, I'm
Yeah.
looking at it right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I chose that specifically because of that. I mean, one, it was spoiler free. It's at the beginning.
Right.
I was waiting for somebody on Twitter to be like, spoilers. You didn't think there was a battle?
Yeah.
But yeah, it did. It came out. It looked so good in there. And that's with the masking up too. And
Right.
that's why you get that nice contrast there and stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, it
But
looked,
yeah, I just
it
snapped
looked
the
great.
picture.
But
Yeah. Yeah,
but yeah,
that's
I
funny.
think they did a great job. The HDR, like I said, everything was
Yeah.
it looked fantastic, and I liked the book. I mean, I liked the story. You know, again,
Yeah.
a lot of people are bashing a lot of things. One thing universally is people seem to be pretty happy with the quality of it. Like I haven't seen too many people complaining about the picture or the sound. A lot of people are complaining about the show itself, and I mean that's fine, to each his own, I guess. But
I kinda like it.
I don't
Yeah.
follow a lot of the criticisms that they have.
But you did
know, like
say there
somebody-
was some soapbox crap going on, right?
Well, there was a lot. Again, a lot of people complain whenever there's a strong female lead character that does things that they don't think that she should be able to do. Like somebody made a comment about the scene where, you know, like she, not really to get into too many spoilers, but like they're going into battle and like the elf has their sword down and she kind of runs and jumps off of the sword and springs into battle.
Yeah, I
and
thought
like,
that was cool.
you know, she's doing all this Matrix
Yeah.
stuff, and I'm like, do you not remember Legolas at all in the other Lord of the Rings movies? Right?
Exactly.
Nobody was complaining about what he was doing because he's a dude. You know,
Right.
the fact that she was, you know, a female and doing this, a lot of people were complaining about that.
You know what I
It's just
actually
little
thought of?
nitpicky things,
with-
but I thought that was an awesome scene. I was
Yeah.
like, that is awesome.
Well,
You know,
what I
plus
really
she's like a couple thousand years old. You don't think she's learned how to fight by now? You know, it's like, it's not like she just figured it out. She wasn't
Right.
just born. You know, it's like,
I know. And what I thought was really interesting is, especially with that scene, and I did think of that with Legolas, because he was my favorite character in the other
Right.
one, right? And so now you have her pulling stunts like that, which I got to imagine is going to be even more. You
yeah,
know,
right, I
right.
would think so.
But what I thought was interesting is the elves, the males were like, they're fairer, right? They have a fairer skin.
Right.
They have the blonde hair. They're fair. They're more like, I felt like for elves, like the difference between a male and a female isn't as great as like what we like to portray as like, I'm a man, and a
No,
woman's
there's
a
not.
more-
They're very, they're kind of
closer,
fair,
right?
They're they're smaller in stature. And,
Yeah.
you know, there's no big muscular elves, and
Right.
you
they're
know.
they're just very good at what they do.
Right.
They're very proficient. So why couldn't she be just as equal
Exactly.
to the guy
Right.
or anything, right? Whereas we have this mental image of you got Arnold Schwarzenegger and like an Ella
Right.
McPherson. That's
Right.
what we think, you know, the two differences right there. And you're like, no, the elves they're just a little bit more in the middle. And I thought it was great, but that's a great example because I did like that. Like they springboarded her
I
off.
thought it was awesome.
And
Now, the
even
only
how
thing
they
that had-
designed that scene, like,
Yeah.
we're going to use the flex of the sword and get you to, it's so cool.
It's like a diving board kind
Yeah.
of thing.
But for a second now, on the soapbox, how messed up in the head, sorry, anybody that thought this, but how messed up in the head are you that when a great scene like that is taking place, you've got crap
Right.
going, surround sound going, you've got the scene, you've got great image and the design of like springboarding, and you're thinking like, what? Who cares? Oh,
It's just people that want to not like it, and so they are finding
Right.
all these reasons. Now, again, mild spoiler, I guess, but the only thing that really had me shaking my head a bit was when, like, you know, she jumps off the boat, and it's kind of like the ocean is vast, right? Like, elf or not, man, that's a long swim. I don't care what you're doing. I had to shake my head a little bit at that. And then the fact that, again, the ocean is big and she runs across like two different groups of people while she's there.
I knew
So-
you were going to say that. I knew
That
watching
part
that
of
scene.
it, yeah,
I
that
liked
part of
it.
it did
Yeah.
have me shaking my head a bit. But not everything else. Even like somebody's made a comment that, you know, because when they're approaching Valinor or whatever it's called, they're all standing at attention. You know,
Yeah.
the elves are like, because they're ready to pass over. And somebody made the comment, oh, yeah, sure. They just stood at attention for the whole 2-week journey or whatever. Well, nobody said that. Like, the scene is when they're approaching their home. For all you know, they were sleeping a half hour ago.
Right.
And they got called to attention on deck because they're about to get home. Nobody said they've been standing like that for 2 or 3 weeks on the ship. It's like little things that I don't know. Like I said, I start reading all these comments and then I don't know why I'm even doing it. But I give myself credit for not engaging though. Because I read it and I stay out of it. I just shake my head and I move on because I really want to get in there and start typing stuff, but that's just inviting.
I don't even.
Yeah, that's just inviting more hassle into my life. But
what I always think is funny is when somebody tries to do stuff like that, you just start pointing out like their inconsistencies and what they're upset about, and then they just get running in circles, and they shut up, and then they don't even want to talk to you.
Yeah,
but I don't. They're so I hate this, but I like this. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? But I mean, let me help you out on the water one.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll help you out on the water one. I've got a lot of open water swimming experience. No, I literally do.
No, I know, but not
ocean
for like
swimming.
1,000 miles.
Well, you don't. You don't know how far away they are, but for an elf though, they're immortal. She's not gonna die.
Right.
So all she's got to do is swim.
Well, they're not immortal to the point where they can't die. They just have long lives. Like, if you stab them, they could be mortally wounded.
Right.
And I think they could probably drown.
Right. But if you don't know how, like, people don't believe this, but you can. Swimming is like walking. You can just get in the water. I can get in the water and just go and swim for miles. And I didn't believe it until I learned how to do it. I was like, because I have a friend that used to be like, oh, go with me and my dad, and we go for like a 3-mile swim around the island. I'm like, I can't do that. Yeah, you can. And that's what you do, right? Well, and you're out in a boat. The scary part of a boat sinking for us, it's like if you're like 1,000 miles from the shore is like, yeah, I'm not going to make that, but I don't want to walk 1,000 miles either, right?
Well, right.
Right. You will get tired, but you can swim. But now I'm putting it to an elf. They don't get tired. They don't get exhausted. They're just always walking along, and they don't get tired from that. So for her to swim back, she's just like, screw it, I'll just swim back.
Well, again, it might take me. That's describing more than what they've said. Like, they have more endurance than we have, but nowhere is it ever said like they have unlimited. They're not Superman. Like, I'm sure they get tired too.
I don't remember seeing Legolas get tired. He didn't even sweat.
Yeah, but like I said, they probably have more endurance than we do. But
yeah,
and you're right to your point. They never did say how far out they were. But you imagine it was a pretty long boat journey that they were on. So I think
they took
they're pretty
a boat.
far. Yeah, they're pretty far out. Right, because if they could just swim it, they would have just swam it.
Just swim their way home.
Why get on the boat to begin with? But yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. They have more endurance. Like, they're physically superior to what humans are. But I don't think it's infinite. Like, I don't think they could just swim for like 3 weeks straight.
Well,
not, they have to eat. They have to.
I know.
Sleep.
I know that if I'm within 10 miles, and if it was to save my life, I'm pretty sure I could make it. 5 miles, no doubt. But I'm saying 10 miles. As long as you're going in the right direction, that's the. Well,
that's the other part too, right? How does she even know where she's going?
Well, that was my biggest fear. Is I just start swimming and I'd be going to England. Yeah, I'm trying to get back to the Cape.
It's like, I went left when I should have went. I took a left at Albuquerque. And I should have took a right.
That's the tough thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But right, that's the only thing that, like I said, had me. I shook my head a little bit, but it didn't take me out of it. I went with it, because it was good. I enjoyed the whole show.
Yeah, exactly. I love the show. I love the story. I love what it's doing for the entire like Lord of the Rings mythos, right? And how we're getting, and I like to your point of like how old she was at the time. It's like you go from the opening scene, which was very much like Fellowship of the Ring. It's the exact same thing, to the point that I went and I put in Fellowship of the Ring, and I've started in on that as well. And it was like verbatim. Like, even when you fire it up, I was like, is my projector on? Why am I just
Oh,
hearing
that's right,
it? And
because it's got that black. Yeah,
it's just a black screen, right? And I'm like, is that thing on? Is this thing on? What's going on? I'm hearing it, but I'm not seeing anything. Then you put on Fellowship of the Ring, and you get the exact same thing, narration, and then you come right in, same type of battle type idea. But
which is cool because it's not Peter Jackson, and it is not necessarily holding to what he did, but it's very reminiscent. Like you wouldn't know that they weren't the same world. Like they've kind of gone out of their way to keep it familiar, even though like
some of the same
Galadriel,
characters.
Their Galadriel is not the same. Their Elrond is not the same. But
it's the same character. It's just
the same character, but I mean, it's not necessarily like they don't have to do the same things that Peter Jackson had them do. You know, because like technically they're not the same. It's just the same name of a character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Well, no, I think it's the same character. It's just thousands and thousands of years earlier before we saw them in this. So
but I guess
it's so cool.
I know what I'm trying to say is like the events that he laid out, they don't necessarily have to follow. This show could have them do different things if they wanted to, because they're not saying that these are prequels to those movies. You know,
I thought these were like the way in the future of the movies that we just the past. I'm saying, sorry, not the future.
They are, but
I thought this was like how the rings are made.
But they're not saying that these are connected to the movies. Like it's their own thing.
Yeah.
Like they're following what Tolkien wrote, so it would stand to reason that the story would flow. Right. But they're not necessarily beholding themselves to what those movies did. Like the orcs don't have to look like his orcs.
Oh no,
because
no, they could have advanced. They could have changed.
They're not
or whatever.
saying that.
Right.
Like they're not physically connecting them. We are physically connecting them because we're keeping the story together. But I guess the point I was making is that even though they're not the same thing, you would never know it. Like the world looks the same, it feels the same, everything.
It does. It really does, and it plays so well to the point that, like I was saying, I put in Fellowship. It looks really good. I mean, it doesn't look as good as the discs, but and those discs when they came out, we were like, this is like reference quality, especially the imagery.
They were awesome.
They're beautiful looking discs.
Well, they are.
They are beautiful discs. But Rings of Power is just so. It's pretty. I don't want to say it's close because we don't have a disc to compare this to for this content. But when you go back and forth between Fellowship and what we've got already on Rings of Power holds up well, really well. Really well. Much better than going from Top Gun Maverick
Elvis to Elvis.
Or Elvis to Elvis. Yeah, exactly. Right. And I'm really happy we have the two go, like Rings of Power and House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
They're just so well done, and they're both advancing these stories from the past. Which is really cool. I think in Rings
they're both very well done.
Yeah. I think in Rings of Power, we know a few characters that are clearly gonna make it, but then they are developing characters that you're like, to give you some suspense, to give you some like, is this person gonna be? And you're starting. We're only 2 episodes in, but I cannot wait for Fridays now. And then I'm like, House of the Dragon doesn't drop until Sundays, and you're like, oh, I need that. It's like, oh,
right.
So
luckily we had that. We had episode 3 of that this week already.
Yeah.
We had our fix of that, but already looking forward to the next, because this week's House of the Dragon was awesome too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really, really good. And it's gonna be sad when they're over. What are they? Are they each 10?
Because there's only 8 each.
Is it 8 each?
So they'll be over before you know it.
Two months of content.
We'll be waiting a year.
At least. At least. So, I think didn't they film Rings of Power?
Well, Rings of Power was greenlit for like 3 seasons right off the bat, so they probably never went out of production.
Yeah.
House of Dragons, they just announced season 2 this past week. Confirmation of it. So they're probably going right back into production.
Yeah.
Unless they, they might have gambled on knowing they were going to get a season 2 and
Right.
just kept on going.
I would hope.
I mean, I don't think it was that much in doubt that they were going to get a season 2. So,
yeah. Great. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Looking forward to next week's as well. So.
My only issue with House of the Dragons is I don't know, again, even with Game of Thrones, even though they ran out of books, I mean, it was based on 5 pretty lengthy novels. As far as I know, House of the Dragons, it's 1 book.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many seasons they're going to be able to wring out of that. I'm not sure we'll get another 7 or 8 seasons like we did with Game of Thrones, because I don't think the story exists.
Yeah.
But once again, it's 200 years of history, so they could bridge it.
Yeah.
As long as they want to. They just only have 1 book I think there's only 1 novel to base off of right now.
Oh, okay.
So.
I thought they were just going on their own. I didn't even
No,
know
this
they were
is
going
based
off
on
of a book.
this is based on a book he wrote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think he's working on the 2nd one, but he's also working on the 6th Game of Thrones novel for the last 12 years. So there's no guarantee we'll ever get either one of them. So I think at some point they'll be on their own again, just making up the story however the writers want, however they want to do it. So
I'm good with that.
I am too. I am too. I just, like I said, I'd love to see it go on for 7 or 8 years. I just don't know if they have the content to do that.
Right. Hey.
Hell, they turned. They turned The Hobbit, which is a 200-page book, into 11 hours worth of movie. So
I know.
I guess they could do whatever they want, but The Hobbit was the shortest book.
Yeah,
and it had, each Lord of the Rings movie was based on 1 book, which were all longer than The Hobbit.
Right.
And they did them in 3 or 4 hours. So stories can be stretched if they want to.
Yep. Yep. All right. Is that it? We can wind down the scenes?
I think so.
All righty. Let's bring back. That's it for this week. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That was just a couple hours.
I say it still wasn't short.
Nope. Are we ever?
No.
You give us some time.
By the time you put Steve in here, we're still going to be 2.5 hours.
Oh yeah, at least. At least. I got. Yep. So, all right. Thank you to everybody. Again, if you've listened this long, please hit subscribe, mash that like button, right, John?
Right.
We're 2.5+ hours into this and you're still listening. You have
Yeah, if you're still listening, at least hit the like button.
Yeah, exactly. You can follow us along at Brightside HT on Twitter. Email us at brightsidehometheater@gmail.com. And you can go to the website, check out all the links, all the other shows there, brightsidehometheater.com. And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/brightsidehometheater. And the other way you can support us is you can come on the show.
Yeah.
You could just come on the show, email me, and let me know you want to be on the show. And you can participate in a Takeover Tuesday episode, and we just hang out and talk home theater. Dan did a great job this week. I don't know who I have scheduled for next week yet. Kind of up in the air on that. But yeah, just if you want to be part of the show, you're looking to talk home theater, that's what we do on Tuesdays.
Yep.
So, and this month's charity, American Heart Association, you can go to heart.org to make your donation, or you can join up on Patreon, or hopefully soon we'll have a one-time donation link too. So,
yeah.
But yeah,
awesome.
Thank you to everybody that's already supported the show, whether it's monetarily, coming on the show, telling people about us. Really appreciate it. Having a lot of fun here, and we'll be back. What do you want to do next week, John? I'm going to ask this on the air.
Oh yes, because I'm prepared. I'm totally prepared.
I love
to
getting
you.
the sights, sounds.
Yeah. I don't know.
See what happens when you don't train the monkey?
I know.
Look at how we brought the show all the way back around to that. It's like we're professional.
I know it, right?
Yeah.
Way to call back the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do we
Drew,
have
our
to-
producer's the one that wrote all this up for us. We've been on this is all scripted.
Yeah.
This whole thing is scripted. People don't know that.
I wish I got a copy before the show, but
So you don't have. All right, we don't know.
I mean, nothing. I wasn't prepared to answer that.
I
so
know
don't
you weren't
I
prepared.
can't think of anything.
You don't have any discs that you want to throw in for fun?
Not without looking through them and trying to.
All
Not off the top
right.
of my head, no. Yeah.
Potpourri for next week. Who knows what
Yeah,
we'll have?
we'll
We'll have
figure it
something good. All right, everybody. Thank you again. Thanks for listening. John, what do they got to do?
Go push play.
Hey, Fred.
This has been a Hey Fred production with theme music by Jeff Bernhardt and Throne Vault Productions.